Rob Brown Lockdown. Wait.
Good morning.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in. It is Wednesday. My dudes, my dudettes. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're well. Let's rock and roll. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. And may I say to all of you across the listening audience, all across the upstate of South Carolina, all across the Palmetto State, all across the Southeast.
I'm talking to America here.
All across the world. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. It is Valentine's Day. We love you. Heart hand emoji. We love you guys greatly. We love sports. We love this job. We love the show. It's just love. All you need is love. Ba-da-da-da-da. And we love you guys. So thanks for being here. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope that is off to just the most romantic and, hey, maybe sensual start possible as we celebrate this day of affection, of romance.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
I had a joke about those 2 words on Valentine's Day, but I'll leave it alone.
Hell yeah!
You did it, man. You played the clip. Great one. You decided you wanted to drop the DX on the introduction to Valentine's Day.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
And no, I'm not. I was here when you did it. Hey, babe, happy Valentine's Day. I got 2 words for you.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah, probably should.
That's more than 2 words.
Probably should. My name is Rob Brown. The pleasure is, as always, thoroughly mine. On the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM, the guy in charge of not just this radio program, but it is Valentine's Day. Every radio program that you've ever loved. He is the great one, Lonzo. What up, Zo? Happy Valentine's Day, buddy.
That's weird, but
How is
happy
that
Valentine's Day. Because I'm sorry, happy Hallmark Day.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say to you cynical people out there, all right, that think that having a day where treating love and romance is a bad thing.
So you only do that on one day?
Do you celebrate? Let me think here. Christmas. Do you celebrate your faith every day? Yes.
Yes.
But you go hard in the paint for Jesus on Christmas, don't you?
Well, you should be doing that every single day.
But you do it on Christmas more than. Do you put up Christmas lights around your house all year long?
Where I live,
Do
I
you
can leave.
hand
I
present?
can leave them up all year long. Who's gonna know? You don't know.
That's true. I don't. But do you? No.
There are Christmas lights
Do
still
you
up.
give out gifts around the year? No.
Yeah, sure. I give the gift
Do
to
you
me
gather-
every 6 days a week
All right,
on the radio.
You see what I'm dealing with here, people? You see the gift of me.
It's sometimes a large gift. Right now, it's pretty sturdy.
It's a sturdy gift.
And you're welcome.
No returns.
Very huggable. Just don't hug me.
Yes.
Just don't hug me.
I do all the little things all the time to ensure that my significant other knows.
But Hallmark
that I
told
don't-
you that
I
on the
don't-
14th you have to do this, and you said yes. Hallmark, I will do what you say.
I don't just do that. I mean, I do it around the calendar so that she knows I love her. I do things for her that I don't do the dishes every day when I leave alone, but I know she hates the dishes being dirty. So I rinse them and wash them and put them away every day. Not because I want to, but because she appreciates that. She does not like not being able to walk around and barefoot in the house because there's dirt on the floor and she hates that texture. So I vacuum every day when I get home. I don't want to do that. I do that for her. But to have one day where you go above and beyond, you do the extra, you go the extra mile, you put in the 110% because, hey, vacuuming every day eventually just becomes part of the routine. Picking up the dishes every day just becomes part of the routine. That just becomes
okay.
What you do.
So that's what you go with. I don't do that every day, but on this day I do it to make it more special. No, I can't.
I just said the opposite.
I can't vacuum in August. I gotta wait till February.
No, you just ignored every word I said, waiting to pounce. I just said I do all those things every day. I do those every day. I make sure that every day when she gets home from work, the floors are vacuumed so she can kick off her shoes like she loves to do. The dishes are put away so she doesn't feel like she has to go from work straight to work. I do all these things for her every day. But today is a day where I say, I still fawn over you. I am still obsessed with you. I still want you to have chocolates and flowers. This is not just day-to-day stuff I do. I am doing all of this to go above and beyond. So she's asleep right now. None of you snitch. But when she gets home from work today, she's going to have a very nice meal waiting for her, a very nice home-cooked Rob Brown specialty meal on the table with
Big Daddy, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. With a big bouquet of roses and a box of her favorite chocolates. And then I'm taking her on a hot, steamy date to go see Toto and Journey. That's how we celebrate love. All right?
That's what we're doing. That's a hot, steamy date back in 1987.
That's what we're doing. All right. So today is the day. And let me go ahead and say, fellas, especially you young whippersnappers out there, let me help you out. Don't listen to Uncle Zoe on this one, okay? Listen to Uncle Rob. Listen to the Doctor of Love over here. All right? Trust me on this. You're going to have a lot of cynical dudes that are going to be like, I love my wife every day. No.
Here's the problem.
Today is the day to shout. Overwhelm her just so she goes, that's right, I am special.
All right, here's the problem. So you go out there and you think, I'm going to do this. And then you do it, and it's excellent. Then the next year, how do I top that? Then the next year, how do I top that? Then the next year, how do I top that? Eventually, you can't top that.
Oh, maybe you can't, but the Doctor of Love can.
It sounds like you're doing the same thing every year. I don't know how that's. I mean, how's? I guess it's special if you only do it once a year. But if you're doing the same thing every, that's the point. But the same, then they become complacent. Yeah, he's going to do this. He does this every year.
That's literally what you do with your day-to-day life.
Okay, all right.
I shower her with love every day. Well, then it's just your life, right? Like that's exactly what you're saying.
Why are you doing the nerd voice as if nerds know what that feels like?
What you're saying is going above and beyond is irrelevant. So don't go above and beyond.
By the way, Kevin wants to know, is it okay to buy balloons from the Dollar General? Absolutely. Where we live, it's very acceptable, Kevin. So we're good.
Listen, and I think this is
know your area. We're all right.
I think this is what gets lost because I think this is the old men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. Allow me to go ahead and clean this mess up for you again, fellas. I'm here to help.
Why isn't this a day where the women shower the men? Why does it have to be the men showering the women? Why do the men have to come up with all this stuff? Why don't the women come up with all this stuff? Why isn't this a day where they show us how they feel about us? Why don't they come home and make that meal and do all the things you talk about doing? Why aren't they doing that for us?
Because in 90%
Chivalrous
of
Rob is about to come out.
Correct. I am about to simp for women so
that
hard.
Does not exist in 2024. It's called equal rights. Equal rights means what I do for you, you should do for me. Mm-hmm. That's what equal rights are. That's if you want equality, you want to be treated like everybody else, then you should do the same thing.
You ready?
So it should be maybe you rotate every year. Okay, this year it's me taking care of you. Next year it's you taking care of me. It shouldn't be me doing it every single year.
In most relationships, not all, but in most relationships, we as dudes are fortunate to be picked. Okay? You're fortunate to be picked. Most dudes are punching up when it comes to their partner.
That's ridiculous. That is.
You're not punching up.
That is it.
You're not punching up. You didn't outkick your coverage.
It's an archaic way of thinking. It's a Neanderthal way of thinking. I live in 2024 where things are supposed to be equal. I'm not going to go back to 1937 where the men do this and the men do that. I think if you want true equality, it needs to go both ways. It does.
Who the hell says it doesn't?
It does. You do. Well, the man is supposed to, that's all you've been talking about. The man is supposed to do this. That is 20th century thinking, not 21st century thinking. You should be progressive like you are in all things except for this. Why are you not progressive in this? So why are you not in this century?
I'll eventually tell you because every week, my woman does so damn much for me constantly.
Your woman, so she's a possession? I thought you're equal. We're gonna have
to move on because I don't get to explain myself. Lonzo's just gonna keep painting me into the corner. No. You're painting me into a corner of being like a 1920s what do you call it? Like a Mad Men Suits exec. All right. I'm trying to get myself out of the corner.
Yeah, see, you're my dame. Yeah. That's right. You're my best girl.
I saw her standing there leaning against the lamp pole, huh? As I was flipping my quarter for no reason. That's what we did back in the day. We flipped quarters.
It's a sign of wealth there, fella.
If you flipped a quarter and it rolled down a drain, you were out $25,000, see? The woman in which I am in an equal relationship with at this stage in my life does a lot for me every week. You may or may not have noticed this about me, Lonzo. I'm a little scatterbrained and entirely disorganized as a human being, okay? To keep my life together, just to keep this show as off the rails as it is, I put everything I have into it to keep it on the rails. And this is still how it sounds.
Yeah, that's the rails. That's my fault. That's why I'm trying to stay off the microphone.
These people have heard me do a show by myself. It's no different. It's just I have to make fun of me when you're not here to do it. She genuinely helps me keep my life together. She makes fun of me sometimes when we do it. I make fun of her sometimes when she doesn't. All right. She does a ton for me in that regard. So if there's a day for me to show a little bit of appreciation upon, past, I did the dishes and I vacuumed and I let the dog out, then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go a little above it. I'm gonna go a lot above and beyond, so that she knows how much she is appreciated, because it can be lost in the day-to-day routine. We talked about this in sports the other day. Routines are deadly in the world of sports. Unless your routine has you at Kobe level, routines are deadly in sports. They're deadly because once you get into a routine, routines are comfort. That's comfort. That's what a routine is. I am in a zone of comfort. We'll call it a comfort zone. I'm in a zone of comfort with this routine. I get up at this time. I have this where I do this, I do this, I do this. And while there's less room for you to screw up when you're in the routine, there's also less room for growth in a routine. You can't get better. You can't go above and beyond when you're in a routine because there's nothing to drive you to do it. You can make trying to get better part of your routine, but you're still in a routine. So to break that routine just for one day on 2/14/24, to break that routine, to go a little above, a little beyond, to get out of that comfort zone, just as a reminder that, hey, lady, you're the best thing in my life, and I need you to know that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't advise you wake her up with a D-Generation X quote. As hysterical as it is to me, maybe save that for February 15th. That's what this day is. Fellas, that's what this is about. It's about going just a little above and beyond the norm as a nice, isn't it nice sometimes? Doesn't it feel good when the boss for once goes, this is a hypothetical, not that this doesn't happen here. But when the boss goes, so you did a tremendous job on the show today. Doesn't that kind of warm and fuzzy you a little bit? That doesn't warm and fuzzy you? You don't go, oh, that was nice.
I was trying to think of what that felt like, and I don't know what to compare it to. It's yeah. Don't spit on the board, dude.
I was doing my best.
By the way, I'm joking about that. I've been told that by the big boss.
And it's nice,
man. Our immediate boss will just give us the cool nod. That's enough. Nice. That's enough for me.
It feels nice to occasionally have somebody go, hey, I know I tell you every day you're doing a good job, but like I really want to tell you you're doing a great job. It's like, oh, this is nice. I like this. Do that for your lady today, fellas. Because here's the thing, even if you wake up,
or if you're a woman listening right now,
ladies, do it for your men too.
There we go. I just want some equality. That's all. I want
for your fellas too. But I'm also gonna say, and I don't know, maybe this is just me, maybe this is just my unique perspective here.
20th century.
But my lady constantly does stuff to make my life better. Constantly, all the time. So for me to go a little above and beyond ain't nothing to me. It's nothing to me. I'm not gonna give any names here because I don't want to contribute to the falling apartness of my dude's plan. But a buddy / listener who shall remain nameless for his own health and well-being texted, quote, could not agree with you more, Lonzo, ... as I'm leaving Lowe's Foods right now with flowers and chocolates. Never seen so many middle-aged men waiting on Lowe's to open at 6 a.m. If you didn't, fellas.
I hope you guys all understand how sarcastic I've been for the last 15 minutes. I mean, because radio, I do believe part of it. I do believe it should go both ways, and it usually does. Be thankful that you have someone in your life, because there are a lot of people out there who don't.
Damn right.
And Valentine's Day is just a reminder that they're alone. And,
damn right.
And well, I don't know if you should be so positive about that. It's not a good thing. And keep looking, keep searching. You can't find someone if you don't try. That's all I want.
Hey man, listen. I respect the struggle. I was in the struggle a while. I get the struggle. I get the 214 on the calendar rolling around and waking up in an empty bed. I get it. It sucks. But that doesn't mean that those of us who have gotten, I will acknowledge, very lucky, very fortunate to find the right person to share 214 with, shouldn't enjoy it. Even it means you're in the parking lot of a grocery store at 5:50 a.m. because you didn't just go get it the night before. Listener. Just because you weren't come on, man. I know you, dog. You're big time. You're successful. My God.
I hope you regret sending that text to him. Because you should. Surprised he hasn't given your address and what Lowe's you're at.
All right, we got a day lined up. You know what I would like to do today? I would like to talk. I feel like, mainly because you and I are, well, cynical and easily entertained. I feel like we kind of do dwell on the negative in sports a lot today. I would like to dwell on the positives in sports today. I would like to talk about the things we love in sports. I would like for you to tell me why it is, the story behind that thing that you love in sports. It could be a team that you love. It could be a sport that you love. It could be a player that you love. It could be a particular game or score or outcome or event that you love. I want you to think about the thing that you most love in sports. The team, the player, the game, the concept, the event you were at, that one sporting event you went to that changed everything for you. I want you to think about the thing that you love most in sports and then tell me why it is that you love it. That's what I'd like to do today, okay? It's all about love and romance in the air today on maybe the single most affectionate, charming, romantic, and may I say,
Hello, ladies.
seductive sports talk radio show in the Palmetto State. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the legendary Lonzo. It's the romantic Rob. It's the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, got a live read right here. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. interaction betwixt Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. Now, I'll say this. In the moment, like I said, bad luck for TK. In the moment, I think all of us were kind of like, oh, what's this all about? But during that game, I kind of sat back a little bit, Zoe. And you know what popped into my brain? It was all the times that Andy Reid has popped up on the New Heights pod. I think those dudes genuinely love each other.
Okay, if you look at the game before, and when Travis got mad and he threw his helmet down and he walked over, Andy hip checked him. And it's live on TV. He hip checked him. That's what they do. It was visible. No one's bringing that up, but he absolutely did it. He did the bump. He just threw that hip out and caught Travis a little bit. That's what guys kind of do sometimes, especially when you're boys with someone and they're standing there. You might kick them in the back of the knee just to see if they'll fall, or just like bump them into the wall for no reason at all. If I hadn't seen that happen the game before, it would have bothered me more. He still shouldn't have gotten his face, but they bump each other. That's what they do. And Andy just wasn't ready for it.
You know who agrees with the great one here? You know who came out and said that he ain't worried about it? This relationship is fine. These boys are going to run it back next year? One, Tom Brady. Tom Brady said on his New Heights on his Let's Go podcast, quote, "There's always little family issues. Of course, I don't mind seeing it. I was part of a lot of those things. You're thinking emotions are so high. You're definitely not centered and balanced. You're not in a meditative state at that point. You are fully determined to go after it and to win." So I think a lot of things that are said during games, people should just let them fly off their back, end quote. I am going to tell you, as we roll on with the theme of love on today's show, I am not worried about Travis Kelce. I am not worried about Andy Reid. I am not worried about the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that they are absolutely going to be right back in the thick of it next year. That's not a question mark to me. That's a statement. It is not a prediction. It is a spoiler. This was not a big deal. It is one of those things that we're going to be talking a little bit later in the show about sports media and some other aspects of it. But this is something to me that feels like, in retrospect, and I'm by no means a Chiefs fan, though this may shock you, is. As not a Chiefs fan, I'm 0% worried about it. Because yes, things can get a little bit heated during the game, for sure. Lonzo and I have butted heads on this show many times. And then we go to the Fortress of Nerditude when it's over. And like 3 times we've talked about something that's happened on the air. We figured out, all right, why did you come at it this way? Why did I come at it this way? Here's what happened. Here's what was going on that we didn't get a chance to talk about, etc. And then we make wrestling jokes and we're good. That's just kind of how the game gets played. By the way, how was the movie?
It was so bad. Oh my! So I'm guessing you didn't watch it.
Not yet.
Oh, it's
not yet. We're going to talk about it later.
It's so bad.
We're going to talk about it later. And once I get a chance to watch it, we will 100% do a full review on it. So this to me kind of felt like very much a brothers fight kind of thing, right? We've talked about this in terms of brothers. We've talked about this in terms of conference mates in college football. Nobody is going to go harder in the paint at my little brother than me. When he screws up, I'm going to tell him he screwed up. When he does wrong, I'm going to bust him up for doing wrong. And nobody's going to hit him harder than me. But at the same time, when little brother calls me and goes, yo, bro, I need this. What do you think about that? How do I handle this? there's nobody else that's going to go harder in the paint for him there either. And I kind of got that vibe from this whole thing. And what it felt like to me was a bunch of people who don't get it trying to make something out of it. It felt to me like, and I will acknowledge, if Kansas City's up 21-3 in that game, nobody cares. If they're up 21-3, it probably doesn't happen because Travis isn't quite as upset about it. But if they're up 21-3, this doesn't happen. And if it does happen because Travis wants to put 45 on the board, nobody's going to go, uh-oh, they're imploding. Uh-oh, they're in trouble. Uh-oh, they're falling apart. They're going to go, yo, that guy's hype. That guy's hype right now. He's ticked off. He's hype. He's not getting the football. He wants the rock. But I think because it was a close game, because TK was held to one snag for 1 yard in the first half, I think everybody wanted to make it something. Why? Because if there is one thing we love, hard hands, in sports more than we love sports, it is drama in sports. That Super Bowl wasn't a great Super Bowl just because it was a great football game. It was because of all of the drama around it. It was the drama of Brock Purdy trying to break away from the I'm a game manager mold. It was the drama of if Mahomes doesn't get this one, he's not catching Tom, but if he does, he might. It was the drama of Travis and Taylor, Travis and Andy, Travis and Patrick. That's what we love. That's what all of this was about. So I got to thinking about that, and I got to really kind of paying attention to what was going on at that point in the game. And I noticed something because I've now gone back and watched the Super Bowl a couple of times. The All-22 cam is the best thing in football. And I noticed something that I did not notice in game during the Super Bowl about the 49ers. Their entire game strategy early in the game was to take Travis Kelce out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that's why he wasn't getting the ball.
But it wasn't just that was the strategy. It's how they ran it. It's what they did to do that. It was something that I loved. In fact, I considered it football genius up until the point that Andy Reid out football geniused Steve Wilkes and the San Francisco 49ers. What San Francisco did early in that game was they took Fred Warner, their outstanding linebacker, who is a very good coverage linebacker. And whenever Kansas City would line up Travis Kelce as a wide receiver, not as a tight end, but as a wide receiver, no matter where he went on the football field, Fred Warner went with him and played bump press coverage there. Put him in the slot on the left, spread him out to the right. Didn't matter where he went. Whenever he was out as an isolated wide receiver, they sent Fred Warner out to him. They put Fred Warner on him. They had Fred Warner serve as basically Travis Kelce's bodyguard. You lock this guy down and don't let him go anywhere. And Fred Warner would basically just rock Travis Kelce at the line enough to take him out of the rhythm of the play. You're not going to stop the guy. He's a beast. What I need to do is if Patrick Mahomes is thinking 1, 2, Kelce look at the middle, I need Kelce not to get there until 3. If Patrick Mahomes is going 5-step drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, look for 87 crossing down the seam, I need him to not be there when Patrick Mahomes gets to 5. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take a stout linebacker, a sturdy linebacker. I'm going to lock Travis Kelce up at the line, and I'm going to throw off the timing of the concept. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to handle this. And that's what San Francisco did. And it got to the point that I think Kelce was beyond frustrated, obviously. So here's why I love Andy Reid. I love Andy Reid because of how he adjusted to that in the second half. The Chiefs figured it out. And you could tell that it figured it out, not at the start of the second half, but shortly after it. Because if you go watch the play that Patrick Mahomes threw the interception on, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Fred Warner was playing pressed up and bump on Travis Kelce, who was in a slot. He threw Kelce out of rhythm. Kelce was not at the portion of the field Mahomes needed him to be, so Mahomes had to go to wide receivers 2 and 3. And guess what? Those guys have been tricked into going into a particular coverage that they weren't expecting, that Patrick Mahomes wasn't expecting. And so because of that, Patrick Mahomes was off script. He had to just kind of try to make a play, and he sailed it, and it did not work. Then what happened? After that play, what you started seeing was a lot of motion and a lot of adjustment in the formation for Kansas City. All of a sudden, they were motioning out of a one-back set into an empty set. And so they were utilizing the running back to add an extra receiver onto the side of the field where Travis Kelce was. And what that forced San Francisco to do was to move Fred Warner, because now Travis Kelce isn't his assignment anymore. And so if he stays on 87, the running back, who's the inside wide receiver, knows wherever Fred Warner gets taken by Travis Kelce, I'm just going right there and I'm sitting down. McKinnon had a catch or two out of that concept. Wherever he goes with 87, that's where I'm going. Well, now all of a sudden, that outside backer has to shift inwards, and now he's got to defend the running back, because the running back's the near inside receiver. And once he shifts inwards, because now the inside wide receiver is the running back, now all of a sudden, Travis Kelce is not locked into bump and run. And when Travis Kelce is not locked into bump and run, now Travis Kelce can fit into those little slots that Patrick Mahomes expects him to be in out of a certain timing concept. Whereas before it was 1 Mississippi 2, and I expect Kelce to be at linebacker depth. Or 5-step drop, 1 Mississippi 2, and I expect him to be turning up the seam, but he's not there because he's getting pressed on the outside. And so now I'm looking 87, 87's not there, which means I've wasted 2 seconds out of my 3.5. And now I have a 1.5 seconds to read the rest of the options down the field and see who's best available. Now I am and this is what they did. They sacrificed the running back as an option. All right, we're not like McKinnon's going out there or Pacheco's going out there, whoever. We're going to send that guy out there. He's not getting the football, but we're good with that because I will trade you one or I will trade you McKinnon or Pacheco as possible outlets in order to get 87 back. That's what Kansas City did. And that's why Kansas City won this game. Because while San Francisco came in with an incredible game plan. By the way, you look at the coverages while Fred Warner was playing bump and run. Look at the coverages. They were running cover 1. They were running cover 2. They were running a false spy. They were running a single high with press on the outside. And it wasn't just Fred Warner playing bump and run into man. He would play bump and run into zone. He would bump Travis, hold him inside that 5. When Travis got free, Warner would drop off into a zone in the flats because that was something else Kansas City tried to do. We're going to send Warner out with Kelce. We're just going to tell Kelce, go on the dive or go on the 9 route, go on the fly. And when he does, we're just going to have the running back go out into the flats because Fred Warner's vacating that. The Niners were ready for that. So the Niners ended up having Warner play bump and run. When TK would get free, he would let him go, pass him on to the next zone, and then roll out into the flats. And now all of a sudden, Fred Warner has negated 2 passing options. He took Kelce away because he's out of the rhythm, and then he took your dump pass away by passing him on to the next level and stepping up to take away the running back. It was incredible game planning from San Francisco. It was the reason that San Francisco had a touchdown lead at halftime. And then Andy Reid saw it, and he got the old tablet out, and he made some changes. They started motioning guys out. So now Fred Warner's not locked up on 87. 87's back in the concept as a timing back. And those spots where Fred Warner was locking down 87 and then being passed on to the next guy, he's not doing that anymore. He's getting dragged the other way. I'll tell you why, and we're going to talk about this here in a couple of minutes. I'll tell you why, if you gave me the option right now to have Andy Reid or Bill Belichick, and let's say in their prime, which for Andy Reid is right now. Andy Reid's in his prime right now. If you gave me the option of Andy Reid in his prime or Bill Belichick in his prime, I'm taking Andy Reid 200 out of 100 times. Real simple, man. Real simple. Because Andy Reid smoked Kyle Shanahan with the adjustments. Once the offense adjusted, San Francisco kept trying to do the same thing. But at that point, their concept had been broken and they did not know what to do about it. And that great one. That's why I love the X's and O's of football. Because this wasn't just about the Chiefs are better. They were. This is about why. And the answer was because Andy Reid is an evil genius.
Yeah, I kind of knew that. Not the in-depth way that you did. I just always know. That's why I'm never worried about Kansas City coming back in the second half, because the second half adjustments are almost always amazing. They figure out what's not working, find things that will work, and that's why they usually only win by coming from behind.
That's it, man. That's it. Andy Reid is a brilliant coach. You absolutely might know where you may know that the adjustments are coming from Andy Reid. Now you know which one he made during that game to win it. Because to me, that was it. That was the one that won it. Nailed it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 on the show. I want you to tell me what you love about sports today and why. I want you to tell me about that team you love, that player you love, that play you love, that game you were at that you loved. We love sports. That's why we're here 4 hours every morning, entertaining the some of you. So I want you to tell me what you love about sports on this beautiful day where we celebrate romance. I'm Rob Heaslons of the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate.
Kind of recovered, sort of.
Yeah.
It's sort of.
Yeah. I just kind of rolled with it. I'm a professional.
We'll just continue on and maybe no one will notice.
All right, guys, I'm going to slip away for 45 seconds. Please don't go anywhere. It was actually like 30 seconds. Nailed it. Good morning, everybody on the stream.
time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, let's go. You're starting to speak another language. Like that?
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com. I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract talk products. Just mix a pack of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call clickgrainger.com and just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. From the Ingles Market
Valentine's Day is for everybody, Tracy. Don't let anybody tell you different. Everybody wants a little love. The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. It's Rob. It's Lonzo. It's you. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is up and running for you. 844-326-3663. The text line is available. I'm falling apart over here. 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the radio show. I don't have a ton of hot takes on this. I mean, I do, but we'll come up with them later. Coming up on February 20th, 6 days from now, next Wednesday, the College Football Playoff Board is set to hold a vote. That vote will be on the new format for the college football playoffs. Now, it is expected that everybody is going to vote to approve the 5+7 model. The 5+7 model says the top 5 highest ranked conference champions will make it into the playoffs, and then there will be +7 at-large bids that anybody can win. The next 7 highest ranked teams that are not conference champions. The reason they are going with 5+7 is because we are going to have, starting this upcoming year, 4 major conferences: the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the Southeastern Conference. The Pac-12, try as it is, and it is. We'll talk about this later in the show. The Pac-12 is lobbying, begging to be considered a Power 5 conference moving forward. They don't want anything to change. They are a 2-team, in their opinion, Power 5 conference that is looking to expand. Right now, they are, if there is a holdout, because the 5+7 model needs a consensus agreement across the board, they are the one vote that could hold out. Now, their representative to the College Football Playoff Board yesterday said that they do not plan on using their vote as leverage to get what they want. But most people who plan on using their vote as leverage to get what they want don't outright say it. They just kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, their way into that scenario. So, they may or may not give the thumbs up on that agreement. We'll know in 6 days. But there was another story that came out yesterday. Once the expanded college football playoff is determined upon, It is going to stay on ESPN. ESPN is in agreement with the college football playoff to extend the network's deal to televise the playoff for another 6 seasons. The original contract went through the 25-26 season. The extension will take it through 2032. And the extension is worth, Zoe, $7.8 billion with a B dollars. That is a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of cash, a lot of dough, a lot of flow.
This is awesome news because you know what that means? That means it's not going to be exclusively streamed somewhere. It's at least going to be somewhere where most people can see it.
That is possibly true because there is a caveat inside of this extension. That caveat is that ESPN is in possession of the ability to sublicense games to other networks, which would potentially open up the opportunity for another network to purchase the rights to an individual game and then broadcast it on the platform of their choice.
Or they could do what they're going to do and then also allow another platform to simultaneously stream the game.
This is true. They are spending $7.8 billion. It would not surprise me in the least for them to sublicense maybe 2, maybe 3 of the initial games. Now, maybe not, because those games are going to be held on campus of the home team. And obviously, when you get to do a game on campus, it's got a little extra pop to it because it's going to feel like a traditional college football game. But if ESPN wants to start getting back some of that $7.8 billion that they spent, going, hey, Amazon, we'll let you have next year's 12v5 game if you want it. You can pop it up on Prime, and we'll send it to you for the low price of, I don't know, how's $175 million sound? And now, a company that has been laying off staff like whoa the last couple of years, even though they have been hiring guys like Pat McAfee for, what was it, $80-something million, $85 million? Now all of a sudden they're starting to put a little cash back in the pocket. They're getting a little cash flow back into the bank account. It's certainly not going to offset $7.85 billion with a B dollars, but it'll push them in that direction, the right direction a little bit. So I think you are right, but I'm not going to say definitively, because if Amazon decides, yeah, we want to be in the college football game and we got a chance to get a playoff game, and even if it's not 1 versus 4, even if it's 7v12, if we pop that up, we know how invested the college football audience is. If we put that on Amazon Prime and we can sell 1 million subscriptions to fans who want in, that might be worth the investment long term. So we'll see how it plays out. But ESPN owns the rights once again. The final 7 games of the playoff are at neutral sites. The first 4 will be on campuses, and ESPN has the rights to all of them. The 2025 National Championship game set for January 20th in Atlanta. That's about 10 days later than it was in the 4-team format, but obviously with the additional 2 rounds, they needed to push it back. The first round of the playoff games next year set for December 21st. So take that as you wish. Big money coming in for the college football playoffs, courtesy of the 4-letter. Let's run to a break. When we come back in hour number 2, we kick it off with a little water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know, stories that you need to know about sports. That sounds like a sports flash. That was terrible.
It was not good. North Carolina's quest for a 1 seed took another hit last night as the Tar Heels fell to the Syracuse Orange 86-79, giving Syracuse their first win over a top 10 team since 2019. The Orange shot 63% from the field and 47% from deep. Mecklenburg County Superior Court has dismissed 3 criminal counts against Hornets forward Miles Bridges. A court filing said conflicting statements from an October incident led to the dismissal, including contrary statements from Bridges' former girlfriend. Bridges served a 30-game suspension without pay for a previous incident in which he pled no contest. Tune in tonight. That's tonight at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on VMI right here on Valentine's Day. Also right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball, The Fan, Upstate.
Wake up. Breakfast. And nature-made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, nature-made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions. Jackson Hewitt! Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100. Jackson Hewitt! Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online. Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of buyer year payment requirement filed. New clients only at participating locations on April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com. That's Talk with Straight Talk.
This tax season, you get the Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy the extended silver unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kids.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only. Family plan discount for 4 lines. All on the silver unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply. Kelly's Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offer. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate. Answer a few questions about your car's history and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the hits, KBB.com.
It's the Rob Brown Show.
He is the driver of the #7 Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. He is Corey LaJoy. Joining us here on the show. Dude, I was watching you have a freaking ball.
DIX.
You saw the segment with
Yeah,
Our Truth, right?
yeah. I don't know this yet, but February 25th is professional wrestling night for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. And they've been working on getting a couple of wrestlers to come. And yesterday I got a text from their president that said, "You're my wrestling guy. If we got, I don't know this guy, but if we got Our Truth to come, do you think that would be a good get?" And I was like, "Tim, if you don't get him now, I'm going to fist fight you in the parking lot of the Well." He's like, "Oh, we have an opportunity. We just didn't know if he was going to be a good get." I was like, "That's the best get you could get."
Yeah. It would be the most entertaining.
I said, if you get him, I'm not doing that game unless you book him on my radio show for a segment. Tim's like, "Well, that would come with it as a media press story."
So there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So now you've done a thing. So now
if they book him.
So now I'm going to be all disappointed if
they
it
get him
doesn't.
booked. I also told him that I want segments on the mic at the game with Our Truth, and Tim was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have him co-MC with you."
Oh man, you'll have so much fun.
Oh, dude, it'd be
Smith and
unbelievable.
James in the first
10-4.
quarter.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. How do You do. My friends, happy Wednesday and happy Valentine's Day to all of you. We love you so, so much. There's just so much love in our hearts for you guys. We celebrate you every day. But today, at the behest and request of the great one himself, we go above and beyond in our love for you. Today, we ramp our love up to a new level because here on the show, we don't think it's a Hallmark holiday. We think it's a fantastic day to celebrate the people in our life who make our life better.
I'm talking to America here.
I do the hard things, but arthritis won't let me. So, you know,
You do the Travis Kelce?
I can't do it. I'm trying.
You can't, you don't want to. And that's okay, Lonzo. Different strokes for different folks.
There it is.
You did it.
Yes,
You did it.
Looking through the holes in my heart right
Look
now.
at that millennial over there doing the hard hands emoji. I love it. I love to see it. Love to see it. All right. We have got a lot of things that we need to get to on the radio broadcast today. We have got, of course, coming up later on today, we are going to start taking a look at the Daytona 500, friends. The Daytona 500, because it is Sunday. The Super Bowl of NASCAR racing gets fired up on Sunday. And I don't know about you, but I am very, very excited about it. In fact, I do have on Sunday a pretty big band concert I'll be playing in back down in the Sunshine State of Florida. But I will also tell you that
who's gonna rock you? Rob Brown and Shenanigans are gonna rock.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I've never done before? I might go live for a few minutes. Should I go live for a minute or two from the show?
Are you talking or playing?
I'll be playing.
Okay, because when you're talking, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, no.
You probably shouldn't. I've heard some things that you say on videos that I don't know.
This show is a charity benefit show, so we kind of got to dial back just a little bit.
So it's family friendly. Okay, never mind.
It's family friendly-ish. Let's say
Okay,
it's like
all right.
It's PG-13. All right, it's not quite rated R, but it's definitely not TV.
So you wouldn't need 2 curse jars.
No.
Okay.
I think we can get through it with just one.
Okay. All right.
I may go live for a minute, but just throw the NSFW tag on it, you know? Like, you're going to be fine. If you listen to this show, you'll be fine. But maybe, like, don't blast it in front of a kindergarten class, you know?
You should do it during Don't You Forget About Me. You should do that.
I could.
Because that's when you guys do the dance thing, right? It's your best choreography.
It is. It is. I might very well throw the phone up on the production stand and go live for a minute.
Will there be a keytar there?
We have come so close to buying a keytar multiple times, we just haven't done it yet.
Come on, you gotta do. I mean, for certain songs, the keytar would just stand out.
The issue is, and this is
who would play it?
The singer. Our lead singers are our pianist.
Okay.
We've come to the realization that, like, we're not the same band anymore.
Do they make Flying V keytars?
I bet they do.
Oh, that would be sweet.
We almost bought a key guitar. It had both. It was a key car on the top and then a guitar on the bottom.
It's like a
double neck.
Like Eddie Van Halen, I think, did some stuff with that. So
we almost bought one of those. But we realized that we're kind of in a transitionary period as a band because we started this band when we were all in our young 20s, mid 20s. And we were all kind of nuts at that point in time. Now, we've kind of had to dial back. Like, for instance, at this show, my bassist has thrown his back out, so he can't go off. My lead singer is recovering from his, like, 3rd hernia surgery, so he can't go off. My drummer was a college gymnast. He used to do backflips and stuff off the stage. He can't really do that anymore. So basically, we have morphed. We used to call ourselves the world's most or the world's most persistent 80s cover band, and now we are the middle-aged ninja cover band. We're just not the same. The only guy is our guitarist, who is the oldest one of us, but is still like shredded. He can still do his stuff, but all the rest of us, we're in a different stage of life now.
But you're not ready to have walkers up on stage.
No, we're not quite
yet,
like
so,
Rolling Stones level, but we're working on it. Anyway, I may go live. Follow us on the social media. I might pop up live for just a minute and let you guys catch a glimpse of the BTS of shenanigans. They asked if they could come up here and play a show. We should book a show up here somewhere and have guest pianist the great Malonzo come on stage for a minute.
I mean, I definitely would come on stage and then, help sing something.
Can we get you in on a little Journey? I'm going to see Journey tonight, by the way. Can we get you in on a little Don't Stop Believing?
Sure.
I love it. We might have to
it's 80s. Whatever song you pick, I'm good.
Dun, 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 dun. Seeing Toto tonight too. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm picturing the Toto Journey concert as everyone sitting down.
I don't know, man. I'm interested. I'm interested in the reaction to Toto. We'll have to talk about that tomorrow. Like, on one hand, I'm really excited to see Toto. On the other hand, I think I might be the only person that's really excited to see Toto. I'm saying I'm past my bedtime for Toto and Journey. Absolutely, not a question.
Toto, they have a full band, so you're gonna get that experience. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Hey, it is after 7:00 in the morning. You're less than an hour from checking into work, and then once you do, you'll be, if you're like me, within like 18 minutes of taking your first break, walking down the hallway, going to the water cooler, gathering around it with your coworkers, talking sports. And if you're gonna do that, you're gonna need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, and if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya! Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
And it's the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 stories you need to know when you get to work and start talking sports with your coworkers. Let us, friends, dive right in with item number 1. The Pac-12 is doing all it can do. The Pac-12 is working very hard to convince you and me and everybody else that the Pac-12 is still a Power 5 conference. Now, we know that they're not, because they're just the Pac-2. Now they're working on expansion, though they're probably not talking Notre Dame into joining. So I suspect the Pac-12 is never going to regain its glory past. And there are some people in the Pac-12, this might shock you, that are pretty upset about that. Mainly the 2 teams that are left in the game right now. And the 2 teams that are left in the game have decided that it is time for a change. Commissioner George Kliavkoff is on the way out as commissioner of the Pac-12. A report surfaced in the San Jose Mercury News that, according to his source, John Wilner, the author, the conference had formally begun the process of separating itself from Kliavkoff. The Pac-12 later released a statement that said, quote, the Pac-12 Conference Board has given the departing 10 schools notice of a proposed leadership transition with an invitation to provide comment. We expect to provide more information following a decision in the coming days. Kliavkoff was hired as the conference's commissioner in 2021, but to say that his tenure has gone less than swimmingly would be a bit of an understatement. The Pac-12 lost all but 2 of its schools under Kliavkoff. The Pac-12 saw 8 other conference schools announce alongside, or I should say after, UCLA and USC that they would join other conferences. Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado, Utah going to the Big 12, Washington, Oregon joining the Big 10, Cal and Stanford joining the ACC, which of course leaves the Pac-12 as the Pac-2, which is Oregon State and Washington State remaining in the oldest conference in college football. Now, in November, a judge granted Oregon State and Washington State a preliminary injunction in a legal battle with the 10 departing Pac-12 schools, giving the Pacific Northwest rivals control of the conference and its millions of dollars in assets. In December, a Washington Supreme Court declined to hear an appeal from the other 10 schools, leaving Washington State and Oregon State in control in the conference. The Cougs and the Beavs have an agreement to compete with Mountain West conferences in 2024, an option to do it again in 2025, but the future of the Pac-12 remains in doubt. No, it doesn't. It's toast. We all know it, but I appreciate their efforts to hang on. So not only did Kliavkoff see 10 schools bail out under his watch, but on top of that, while all this was going on, he was trying his darndest to secure a new media rights deal for the conference. He was unable to do so. His failure in doing so led to the rest of the conferences deciding, yo, peace out, we gone. And that was just too much to bear for the rest of the Pac-12, or I should say for the Pac-2 at this point. Now, I'm going to say this. It is very easy to blame George Kliavkoff. Why wouldn't it be? He's the guy standing at the wheel of the sinking ship right now. But I am also going to say that the school presidents are partially to blame here. I am going to say that Larry Scott, the previous commissioner of the Pac-12, is to blame here. When all of the expansions were taking place, the initial ones, I'm talking about the Texas A&Ms and Mizzous of the world, Larry Scott, the commissioner at the time, I think thought, we're the Pac-12. We're not going anywhere. We don't really need to do anything, right? We're good. We're the guys. We're the man, dog. We don't need to do nothing. He didn't do nothing, and they got left behind. Because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. The Pac-12 was moving backwards and got left behind. So George Kliavkoff on his way out as the commissioner of the Pac-12. Let's go to item number 2. We have known for some time the college football playoff is expanding. We know it has been expanding to like a lot more teams when we get to it. Now we know when we will have a finger on the pulse of the actual expansion format. According to Heather Dinich and others from ESPN, poof. That's one of my favorite bites we have. It's so good. According to Heather Dinich and others from ESPN, on February 20th, which I've checked the calendar, and I happen to now know for a fact is next Wednesday, the folks involved with the College Football Playoff Committee will make a vote on whether or not they want to approve the 5+7 model. Initially, the move was expected to be 6+6 for a 12-team playoff. That 6+6 model was going to see the top 6 conference champions along with 6 at-large teams. The reason for that was at the time that it was discussed, the Pac-12 existed. And so you were going to get a champion more than likely of all the Power 5 conferences, plus one from the group of 5, and then you would have 6 at large. But because the Pac-12 has become the Pac-2, and within the next Pac-2 years, it will be the Pac-0, they decided to downshift it. It is now going to be 5+7 if this vote's approved next Wednesday. You will have the 5 highest ranked conference champions, and then you will have 7 at-large teams. That means that you will have a champion from likely the Power 4, the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10. Then you will have a group of 5 conference champions somewhere, and then everybody else is going to be picked and chosen from those that were not conference champs but had good runs. I would make the argument that obviously last year Georgia would have gotten in. Obviously last year Ohio State would have gotten in. And that's kind of the format. The reason it is intriguing is not because it's not, I didn't look at the calendar. The 20th is Tuesday. Thank you, Texter. This is what I get for trying to do it on the fly. Okay? I didn't write that down. I was trying to quip, and I quipped.
I apologize. I should have jumped in and helped with,
Lonzo,
with the Steiner math.
Be better about me knowing days.
I'll work on that.
Next Tuesday, not Wednesday. Who said Wednesday? What kind of idiot would say Wednesday? Look at the calendar, dummy.
And we're moving on.
This was on me. My bad.
So, next Tuesday, they will vote. The thought right now is that everybody in the room right now is on board with making the change, except Washington State President Kirk Schultz, who represents the Pac-12 on the board. The Pac-12 has been saying we're not comfortable with changing the format right now because we believe we're still a Power 5 conference. We wish to remain a Power 5 conference. In fact, they petitioned the College Football Playoff Committee to hold off on changes while they figure out their legal status and legal battles to determine exactly how it is and if they can do enough to still be viewed as a Power 5 conference. The committee actually accepted that. They actually said, yeah, we'll give you a couple of weeks. Figure it out. Let us know what you come up with. Reality is there was nothing the Pac-12 was going to be able to do, with all due respect to Washington State and Oregon State. The Beavs and the Cougs are left out in the cold, man. There's nothing they can do. There's just not enough remaining crown jewels. And more importantly, the Pac-12 doesn't have the money to pay them what they would need to pay them to get them to move over. So the Pac-12 was basically saying, we want to hold off because we think down the line we're going to go back to being a Power 5 conference, or I guess we should say we will remain a Power 5 conference, and therefore it should be 6 conference champions, the 5 plus the group of 5. Now, Schultz has said that he does not plan on using his vote for the format change as leverage to buy more time for the Pac-12. He said, we expect the vote to happen, and it would, quote, not be the right thing to do, end quote, to utilize that vote as blackmail against the College Football Playoff Committee. But lots of people say lots of things that they then go back on. We'll see what happens next Tuesday when the vote comes up. Let's go to item number 3. This one I find very interesting, even if it is only to me. Sports gambling has become a massive topic of conversation. Any of you who have listened to any sports media outlets as of late, you are aware of that. You know that I host a sports gambling show every Saturday from noon to 4 called Bet for the Cycle on the BetQL Network, alongside former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker and our producer Hayton Ass Mario. Sports gambling has become a major part of the media landscape. In fact, even if you watch shows like SportsCenter, etc., you've got Scott Van Pelt, who does segments like Bad Beats. When you look at the ticker for upcoming games on any of the major sports outlets, now you will not only get the time, the location, the channel, you'll also have the odds attached to them. Sports gambling has become something America is in love with, which is why it's no surprise that the most watched Super Bowl of all time is now also the most gambled on game of all time. According to a watchdog that keeps track of all the sports books in Las Vegas, Vegas took in over the weekend over $185.6 million in bets. That was just with the books in Vegas. There are 182 sports books. Now, because the Chiefs won and bettors were heavy on the Chiefs, the books got smoked. They won a paltry $6.8 million back to Vegas. All the rest went to the people.
They should have read the script.
They should have. Nevada sports books won approximately $4.4 million on last year's Super Bowl. They had averaged $13.2 million on the previous 4. Of course, they also recorded heavy action from the betting public on the Chiefs. They also recorded a ton of money on the over, which on game day moved from 47.5 to 46.5. Why? Because gambling experts, hey, that's me, all slammed the under when it was at 47.5. It moved down to 46.5. Lonzo, the total was 47. So if you grabbed the under when I told you to at 47.5, you made some money. If you waited till it came down to 46.5, you lost money on that game. Thank you, Chiefs Special Teams, for the blocked PAT, because that won it for me.
Rob Money Brown.
Yes. I like that. We might roll with that. Either way, other outlets are reporting their money. FanDuel said it took in more than 14 million bets nationwide, totaling over $307 million in money going into Super Bowl bets. For those of you that have said, can you stop with the gambling? The answer is going to be no. Because while you might not love the thing, America loves the thing. And the numbers prove it. The most watched Super Bowl of all time has now become the most gambled upon Super Bowl of all time. There you have it, your water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking with the coworkers. Let us, friends, take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, we got a lot more to do. We got to talk South Carolina and Auburn. The War Eagle Tigers playing host to the now 11th ranked Gamecocks. Yet, Auburn is considered a heavy favorite in this one. So what do those X's and O's look like? We're going to talk about that later on in the show. I've got a list of the biggest names in the National Football League you need to pay attention to as we start the offseason. I've got a long list of names that are going to shape the landscape of that league. I'll tell you who they are and the ones I think are most important. And we're going to talk Daytona 500 later on in the show. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show. It's all coming up right here on the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, another live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back. I'm nerding out right now. Bit Brigade, which is the video game band, which plays video game soundtracks while a guy on stage speedruns the game, is going on tour with Galactic Empire, which is the Star Wars heavy metal band. They're playing shows together. If they come within 100 miles, I'm going. They've released their handful of dates, their handful of initial dates, which are all going to be up in the northern midsection of the country.
Yeah, but both those bands make their way back around here usually. So.
They do. I really hope they do it together.
Honey, you need Dayquil Severe Honey.
Their normal venue isn't big enough for both of them, though, right?
It depends on where they played. The Warehouse in Simpsonville, which is where I saw Galactic Empire, it probably would be, but they don't have a huge stage. Radio Room could, but it would be wall to wall, elbows to bleep holes, as the saying goes.
Sounds painful.
Offering professional grade supplies backed by product experts, so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Dana Carvey, David Spade here. You might know our podcast Fly on the Wall, featuring guests from across the entertainment industry. We decided to do a spin-off called Superfly, and it's fun. It's just two of us riffing on current events, pop culture, catching up, impressions.
Joe, Trump's trying to be a dictator.
Yeah, this is Joe Bonbon and the Tater Tots. Joe, no. Listen to and follow Superfly on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Sponsored by Jackson Hewitt.
Anyway, if any of you music nerds want to go with me, I'm all in.
And Trey Rob's hat is on hiatus because Purvis saw another red truck. This time we cannot afford the bail because it goes up each time. So he's going to be in there a little while.
Joe Lunardi runs bracketology for ESPN. Bracketology has, over the years, become kind of synonymous with the run-up to March Madness. We've got the road to WrestleMania, and we've got the march to March Madness. I was trying to come up with a better M word than that, and I couldn't do it on the fly. I'm losing my touch. Anyway, Joe Lunardi.
Migration?
The migration to March. Speaking of migration, the damn geese just showed up.
Yeah, they've been here for a little while, but they just came en masse.
What the flock?
When you see the shadows on the parking lot as they fly over.
Like a jet fighter squadron intent on destroying you and everyone you love, the Canadian geese are back.
Yeah, they flew over my car, not yours. So good for you.
They're in the parking lot. They're coming for all of us. They don't have a target. They have targets, and it's all of us. It's humanity.
And that army is growing every year. I remember when it was just 2 geese, and now it's like a full battalion.
Last year, there were like 50 that lived in our parking lot. So aside from the fact that they leave those nice little landmines everywhere for us, on top of that, there are 100 geese, and within a few weeks, there'll be 150 geese babies. And when the geese babies show up, the geese get mad. You ever been hissed at by a goose? It's a life-changing, horrifying experience.
Yeah, I hiss back. We have some sort of Chris told me what it was exactly. It's like a pond, but that's not what it's called.
Like a retention pond?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a retention pond back there. Behind the station. So, and that's where they go.
I hate them. I hate them so much. But I will tell you this. Starting tomorrow, thanks to the texter for bringing this up. Texter said, Rob, good news, late geese season opens tomorrow. # bang, bang. Goose season does start tomorrow, runs through March 1st. You have from a half hour before sunrise until sunset. You may take 5 a day, and I encourage you to. All right?
Yeah, but we're on the air. You could run out during a break and take out a couple and then come back up.
Pretty sure I'm not allowed to in the parking lot. Doesn't mean I would stop trying.
I know. Well, the parking lot stops at some point back there. I'm just saying, and
All right. Joe Lunardi runs Bracketology, and Bracketology has become synonymous with the migration to March Madness. It's the best the two of us could put our heads together and come up with.
It works. It's not
good enough.
It's not great, but
it
works for this show.
It sure does. In Lunardi's most recent edition of Bracketology, he has right now 4 ACC schools, the lowest total for the Atlantic Coast Conference since 2014.
Wait, hold on. I thought that was a basketball conference.
Oh, don't worry. I'm getting there. Because in just a second from now, it's going to be time to elbow drop Lunardi.
Oh, yeah.
Those 4 teams right now that he has in, UNC, Duke, Virginia, and Clemson. He does have Wake Forest as his first 4 out this week. They are a team that is yet to pick up a quad 1 win. They're 0-4 in quad 4 games. Now, there are people who are telling you, and if you've been following this show, you know good and gosh darn well, I ain't one of them, that the ACC, well, she ain't what she used to be. She ain't what she used to be. She ain't what she used to be. I am here to tell you that is incorrect. I'm here to tell you that is incorrect. And let me tell you why.
Wait, I thought you were going to say it's because of the SEC, where it means more.
Oh, again, don't worry. I'm coming to that. Over the past 3 tournaments, the ACC has had 0 1 seeds. Now, leading up to the past 3, over the past, I think, 14 years before that, they averaged at least one seed a season. They had one where they had 3 1 seeds, 3 number 1 seeds. The ACC in the last 3 tournaments where they've had no number 1 seeds has had 6 Sweet 16 appearances that are tied for second amongst any conference, 4 Elite 8 appearances, that is first of any conference, 3 Final Four appearances, that is the most of any conference. They have had 6 wins over KenPom expectations, that is first in any conference. They have had 6 wins over seed expectation, that is first of any conference. And they have had 23 total wins, that is tied for second of any conference. And they did it with just the 4th most bids of any conference here. What I'm saying here is that the ACC has been labeled a dying conference over the past couple of years in the world of collegiate shooty hoops, and yet they are producing as much success in the tournament as anybody else at this point. Joe Lunardi posted his tweet yesterday in which he said, men's bracketology, 2024 NCAA tournament, North Carolina's chase for a number 1 seed has even more implications than usual this season. For the first 2 decades of the century, the ACC averaged at least 1 top seed per year. The conference peaked in 2019, landing 3 of 4 number 1 seeds, including national champion Virginia. Since then, there's not been a single top-line selection from the ACC, its longest drought since seeding began in 1979. In addition, the league has landed only 1 number 2 seed since the pandemic, and in 2 of the last 3 tournaments, its highest-rated entry has been a 4 seed. It's hard to end a decline in the number of overall bids without the usual anchors at the top of the conference. Today's update includes only 4 ACC teams, which would be its lowest total since expanding in 2014. It's fair to say what once was thought to be a blip has become a concerning trend. And I found that kind of very interesting because of all those stats that I just read you a minute ago. The reality is the ACC, even with fewer teams getting in, has remained as dominant in the tournament as any other conference in America. Now, I find this interesting. And it is time for Rob Brown to throw the old tinfoil cap back on. It has been a minute since I cried conspiracy on the radio, but I think it's about that time. There is a point when you look and you go, everything you're saying, everything that you were using is rationalization for what you were doing here. And don't think for a second that Lunardi's bracketology doesn't have an influence on the selection committee who put together the brackets. There's a lot of folks in that room who watch a lot of basketball, for sure. But as somebody who also watches a lot of basketball, I can tell you, you can't watch all the basketball. It is physically impossible to watch all the basketball. There are 300-ish teams at the NCAA Division I level that could qualify for a tournament. You can't watch all of them. And so Lunardi's bracketology is absolutely an influence. Joe Lunardi, of course, works for ESPN, the same ESPN that I have outright, flat out, entirely accused of kind of putting their thumb on the board in order to make it more difficult for the ACC to survive.
How is this any less far-fetched than the NFL being scripted?
It is less far-fetched because of what just happened in football. That is to say, something that never happened finally happened. And coincidentally enough, it just happened to line up at a point in time where ESPN has gone as heavy in on the SEC as it ever has before. And wouldn't you know it, the board gets tilted so that an SEC team ends up in the playoff over a 0-loss conference title champion. Now, if you are ESPN, you absolutely financially want the SEC to be the best it can be. And so you will do whatever you can, theoretically. I know, I'm the Alex Jones of sports right now. They're turning the freaking frogs SEC fans. You are absolutely going to, if you have any influence at all, utilize it in order to get your guys in order to get the teams that you own the rights to their broadcast in, so you can pump them up, get more viewers, get more money. Am I saying that's what's happening? I'm saying it totally and entirely makes sense. I'm saying in a year in which the ACC has a handful of teams that if you look surface level, 30,000-foot view, they look kind of average, right? They look kind of average. But then I look and I go, wait a minute, Clemson's real good. Virginia's real good. North Carolina's real good. Duke is real good. And oh, by the way, Pitt is on a run. Syracuse is on a run. Georgia Tech's popped up and gotten a Q1 win or two. What I'm saying is there are some folks that are making the mistake of looking at this conference and wanting to detract from it instead of additionalize to it. That's not a word. Shut up. I know. Because all of the records don't have a bunch of 22 game winners right now. They got a bunch of 17, 18, 19 game winners. But I am going to make the argument that ACC basketball now is what SEC fans tell us every December that conference is in football. Yes, the average win total looks pedestrian because of how damn deep it is. And so when I'm looking at an ACC that is producing Final Four teams at a more regular pace than any of the other conferences, to see them basically get told, you got three, you got a team in Clemson that's in on the bubble, you got Wake Forest that's not, when they have all 88 Final Four appearances, and they have more than any other conference, including just last year when Miami went. And all of a sudden, you're telling me this conference is going to get 4 teams in? 4. The SEC is going to have probably 7, maybe 8. Now, I've handed flowers to the SEC. That conference is getting better dramatically better at basketball. Lamont Paris at South Carolina is the best surprise in college basketball this year at any level out of any conference. Alabama, Nate Oates is doing a great job. Bruce Pearl at Auburn. Chris Beard at Ole Miss. They are putting together some real good teams. But if you're going to tell me that that conference is going to earn 7, maybe more, by the way, there is a path for the Southeastern Conference to have 10 teams in. 10. There's a path to the ACC to have 3. You're telling me that it's that much further ahead? You're telling me that that conference, again, a very good SEC, is that far ahead of the ACC, that they could have potentially more than triple the number of teams in, yet every single year, the ACC has teams inside of the Elite Eight, inside of the Final Four. I don't understand it. Amongst the Power 6, including the Big East, the ACC is tied for second with number of teams with 15-plus wins. They have 9. They are first in number of teams with 19-plus wins. They have 3. So the conference that has more 15-team win or more 15-win teams than any other conference with the exception of one, and the team that has the conference that has more 19-plus win teams than any other conference in America has fewer bids than every other Power 5 conference. Do you see why it shakes out to be a little weird to me? When you follow it up with what just happened in college football, and I know there's a lot of you that are still going to hit me with best 4 teams, Rob, best 4 teams, not most deserving, best 4. Even though that has literally never happened before, and there were plenty of spots where undefeated conference champions got in over a one-loss conference runner-up that had every metric that said they were a better team. It's happened one time. And it happens while ESPN is going full tilt in on the SEC. The ACC is about to get absolutely hosed. Why?
Will this ease with time for you, or will this always be what it is right now? So 10 years from now, will that anger and everything, will that still be there?
10 years from now, I don't know, because I don't know what the difference is going to be, but I will tell you this, 4 years from now, I'm probably going to be in an absolute and entire hothead. Why? Because right now, projected finances say that in just 4 years, just 4 years, 4 years, the SEC will have twice the revenue to distribute to schools as the ACC. How in the world do you expect Clemson in the ACC? This is why I'm doing it, Clemson fans. This directly relates to you. When stuff like this is happening, when the guys who own the network that show the TV shows that make the money have a direct interest and investment in the participants, and in 4 years, when SEC schools are catching $90 million a year each from TV revenue, while Clemson's catching 40, how in the hell is Clemson going to keep up? How are they going to do it? So no, it's not going to get better with time. It's going to get worse with money. That's why this is a problem to me. Talk more about it as we roll on. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate.
Why are you so angry on Valentine's Day with all the love you were spreading in hour 1? Okay, that makes sense.
take on Miami. The Tigers are 6-6 in the ACC. Elsewhere, South Carolina upstate on the road at Big South Leader High Point. Charleston
Big
Southern Gardner Webb. Presbyterian at UNC Asheville. On Tuesday, number 7 North Carolina upset 86-79 the final at Syracuse. The Tar Heels dropped to 11-3 in the ACC. NBA tonight, the Hornets host the Hawks. The Hornets enter tonight's matchup winners in 2 straight. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins basketball play-by-play live all season long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate. Southbound I-85 starting to bog down a little bit now from SC14 as you make your way down Pelham Road. Northbound I-85 still moving at posted speeds for 385 all the way up to Highway 26 in Spartanburg. And 185 traffic, no problems reported around the loop. So the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center on Chris Bamford on the Fan Upstate.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210.
No, X, I do not want to see Valentine's Day cow art. It's kind of cool, but still.
Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Dirks Bentley, Gravel and Gold Tour.
Big game. Wow, my day just got worse.
100% would go see Dirks Bentley.
Now it's better because it's over. I don't know of any band that you would say I'm not going to go see that because you like going to the concerts.
That's true. K-pop. I would not go see a K-pop band. I have zero connection to that.
Okay.
That's not saying they're bad. It's just not for me. But I went and saw a Japanese baby metal band, and I had the time of my life. They were incredible. Listen, I know I sound as out there as the aliens did it dude on the History Channel. All right, I get it. I'm like a weird haircut away from being Randy Quaid's character in Independence Day.
You keep getting it lower and lower. You're getting.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I need an extra wrap of tinfoil. But I think, all things considered, this would be a pretty good argument based on what attorneys would call circumstantial evidence. If you went in and you said, hey, the guy that owns the bank created and passed legislation that helped the bank. Yeah, that guy could absolutely say, hey, I was just trying to do what's best for America. But you would go, yeah, dude, but like you made a lot of money off of it. And more importantly, I lost a bunch of money off of it. And while I know that some of you think I have ulterior motives for doing this, here's the reality. Current projections, I read 3 different articles yesterday about this. Current projections say that within 4 years, this is not talking about 2035 or 2050. This is talking about 2028, which in radio time is tomorrow. Y'all, March 1st, I will have been here 4 years already. So I want you to think about it. If you've been with me since I got here, in the length of time between my arrival in the upstate and the end of this month, that's the amount of time that South Carolina will be getting paid every year, double the amount of money that Clemson is for existing. Double, twice. 2 times.
Really got to get better violins because I'd be playing them right now.
You're telling me right now.
Wah, so what?
You're telling me right now that there's not a massive advantage for South Carolina to make 80 to 90 million versus Clemson's 40 to 45 million. There's not an advantage to that?
So you're going to tell me,
is there an advantage
4 years from now,
yes or no,
that Clemson will still be in the ACC?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying right now there's no path out of it.
I will tell you this: if another
if
another conference is making more money than you are, that's too bad. It's too bad.
Yeah, just deal with it. Yeah, well, I mean, twice the amount of money. That doesn't help you. Deal with it.
I'm surrounded by people who make more money than me. It's not fair, but it's life.
Not when your survival depends on it. Not when your survival depends. If everything 4 years from now, if you knew for a fact right now that 4 years from now, everything in America is going to cost double what it costs today.
Well, we've seen that in the last 3 years, so it definitely could happen again.
All right, we don't need to be dramatic.
I don't think I'm being dramatic.
But if you knew for a fact that everything in America was going to cost double 4 years from now, and you got told by the boss, hey, 4 years from now, Rob's going to make double what he's making, and T2 is going to make double what he's making, and the Rise guys and Tara and everybody's going to make double. Not you, though. You're going to stay the same. You would just go, life sucks. I got to deal with it.
I would go, yeah, it's been that way for a couple of decades. Why would it change?
That's a bummer for you, man. Bummer for you. Because if I knew that was the statistic, and that's exactly what it is for Clemson.
Some of your analogies hurt. They do. And this is one that hurts. It hurts really bad.
Oh, I know.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Because I'm rolling in that radio money, baby.
Compared to me.
Baby. The reality here is that if schools surrounding you, as they are Clemson, you got Georgia, you got Bama, you got South Carolina, you got Tennessee, all within a stone's throw of that campus. And all of them, this isn't just South Carolina making double what Clemson makes.
Yeah, you're not going to convince me to feel bad because I don't.
That's fine.
I don't. And there's a lot of people out there that don't feel bad about it. I mean, it's just,
that's
just how it goes.
Why? Because your school's making the 80 to 90 million.
Absolutely.
The billionaires don't give a damn if the taxes are too high on the regular people because they are set.
You're daggum right, Rob, bro.
Yes, I know. I'm aware. I'm good at this. All right? The billionaires don't care if the taxes skyrocket.
Way to go.
Because they are set. But you know who it does impact? The regular folks, man. It impacts the regular folks. Yeah. Clemson is the blue-collar worker. All right? They're the hard-working, fingers cracked.
They are an ag school. So I mean, you got to work hard on the farm. You're right.
Dirt under the fingernail.
Absolutely.
Coal soot on the face.
She looked good milking them cows.
Cow manure on the bottom of the boots. Blue collar individuals. And the Gamecocks are the white collar banker in their Armani suits and their Ferraris. Yes. And jokes aside.
Well, and
it's going to be tough.
And so is Vanderbilt.
Correct.
So Vanderbilt's making more money than Clemson.
And so, you know who doesn't feel bad about this? You know who doesn't care? Ohio State fans, Georgia fans, Tennessee fans, South Carolina fans, Alabama fans, Florida fans. But if you are a Clemson fan or a Miami fan or a North Carolina fan or a Florida State fan or any of the ACC schools, you are screwed.
It sucks.
Screwed. To the wall, screwed. Unless something changes. This is why I've said you'd be rivals on the football field, but if you are a Clemson fan right now,
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Hell yeah!
if you are a Clemson fan, you are rivals on the football field, but you are huge Florida State fans in court.
Hey,
huge fans in court.
You know, I get that you're taking up for the little guy and everything, but can we go to break?
Sports Flash. Stick it up for the people.
I was trying. North Carolina's quest for a 1 seed took another hit last night because they're not making any money as the Tar Heels fell to the Syracuse Orange 86-79, giving Syracuse their first win over a top 10 team since 2019. The Orange shot 63% from the field and 47% from deep. I'll wear my glasses one of these days. We learned yesterday at the Super Bowl 58 was the most viewed championship ever. Now we know it was also possibly the most gambled on game as well. Las Vegas sports books recorded $185.6 million, eclipsing the next highest game by nearly $7 million. FanDuel reported taking in more than $307 million. Tune in tonight at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on VMI right here on Valentine's Day, right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball, The Fan, Upstate. All right, so the day's getting longer is throwing me off because I'm thinking it's bright sunlight. It's 9 o'clock, but it's not.
No,
it's
not.
8 o'clock. This is when does time change back? It's going to suck for us, but.
All right, guys, I got to step away for 30 seconds to ask Lonzo a question. We'll be right back. right. Thanks for hanging in there, dudes and dudettes. We back.
What is your go-to Valentine's Day song, and has it changed over the years?
When I get this feeling, I want sexual healing.
It's a classic.
Ooh. Anything by Al Green is the correct answer.
Let's Stay Together, which implies that we were about to not be
stay
together. I'm just, you know.
I mean, we've all been in that situation.
True.
I am going to argue, though, surface level, that Al Green is the best bow chicka bow wow music in the game. There's a lot of contenders. Luther Vandross is in there. Marvin Gaye can be in there. Who's the deep voice? Barry White can be in there, right? But
I like how you had to try to do the voice in order to remember who it was.
You know what I mean? I'm going to argue if you are trying to set the mood.
My loins have been tingling.
Then I'm going to go Al Green.
That's a perfect spot for that. That was so good. That really was.
Hello, lady.
I don't know. So back in the day when you did the mix, you get your mix together.
Yeah.
What
mixtapes were big?
So on your mixtape, where you think you're going to be at a certain base at a certain time, at what point do you put the Al Green in? Is that like song 3? Is it song 4? I mean, you know.
All right. If I was going to make a real bad joke there, I'll leave it. I am going to say that Al Green is like an out of the gate game changer. Now, look at Diddy checking in, going with KC and JoJo.
Gotta admit, I don't know any KC and JoJo. But
yes, you do.
I don't think I do.
All my life, I pray for someone like you.
Nope, don't know it.
I thank God that I finally found.
Are you doing a good rendition of the song?
Good enough.
Okay, I don't know the song. I don't know all music, so I mean, it's okay that I don't know that song.
You feel the same way too. Love some KC and JoJo. Now, I will also say, and I will argue with Diddy here, KC and JoJo is a great answer, but it's a very generationally specific.
So speaking of which, I would put Terrence Trent D'Arby's "Sign Your Name Across My Heart." That's.
I don't even think I know that song.
Yeah, see,
I don't think I know that one. KC and JoJo, I'm going to say, is very generational specific, but Diddy said much better performance than Romo during the Super Bowl. I am going to make the argument Al Green transcends generations. Like even the youngsters discover Al Green at some point. Barry White's in there, but because he did stuff like nobody's ever done before with the Darth Vader love songs. But I think Al Green is just, if you get to pick one dude or chick to set the mood, to bow chicka bow wow, I think Al Green's the guy, right? I'm
sorry, I'm getting
think,
past the dude or chick. One dude or chick.
One dude or chick to set the mode. There's some ladies that have dropped some sexy tracks over the year. Adele's got some stuff that can get you all fired up.
My loins have been tingling.
But I think Al Green's the go-to. I think Al Green's the guy. 71307, start your text with fan. You get one artist to set the mood. Who's that artist? Can the people on stream hear this?
No, I took it off.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sorry, stream. You just got to deal with it for a minute. I'm so in love with you. Whenever you want me to. Oh, I need. Banger, dude. Banger.
The best part about it is there's no music on the podcast, so you're just going to hear him doing this a cappella.
It's how's this not going to work every time with you? How's this not going to work every time? Sorry, stream, you're going to have to vibe with us for a second, man.
I can only play so much of a song. So, I mean, before there's a problem.
I don't think that's true. We have the rights, right? It's in the library.
I am playing it from the library. Yes,
so we're
yes,
good.
I am.
So we're money. Oh, dude. It's mood setting. Just ride that hi-hat.
It's very smooth. It's very,
so
yeah.
smooth.
I mean, yeah,
It's going to work every time, man. Mr. Steal Yo Girl.
All right. Wesley says,
Texas says it's not going to work because I'm not 90 years old.
Well, I think you'd have to be like 70 or so. Yeah.
Irvin texted in, said Marvin Gaye on my list. 100% mention him out of the gate. Marvin Gaye's on the list. Ain't no doubt.
All right. Wesley says Leon Bridges. Who's Leon Bridges? I know the name.
Same. Research time. Texture said Keith Sweat. Yo, Keith Sweat is on. I'll tell you what. Here's the thing y'all got to recognize, fellas. I think it's a mistake we all make. We all talk about the music that revs the motor for us, but what you need to be thinking is,
hello, ladies.
Keith Sweat is absolutely on my ladies playlist. That playlist. The Candle playlist.
Ooh, the Candle playlist.
Yeah.
Trey says some Burt Bacharach. Can't go wrong with some Burt Bacharach, man. The greatest songwriters of all time. One of them.
I mean, this might be, Al Green might be the guy, but this might be the song, right? Al Green's the guy, but Sexual Healing is the song. It's going to work 100 out of 100 times.
I don't know. He's hot just like an oven. I think he has a fever or something. It's weird.
No, man. I mean, sometimes you're just hot like an oven. Feel it. I want sexual.
BTR says Tom Jones.
Sexual.
Yeah.
Healing.
What's new, pussycat?
Whoa. Okay. Texture says Teddy Pendergrass. That's absolutely on the list.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even think about Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Teddy sounds like he's
Real
in
good
pain. He's just, I mean, it hurts him so bad.
There's some, who should not be on the list, but absolutely is, but it's got to be right. Aaron Neville goes on this list.
I don't know. Because when I hear him, I just think of his face shaking when he's, I can't know.
Aaron Neville's got a couple that are going to work. Only a couple, but a couple that are going to work way more than they don't. Keith Sweat's on the list. Marvin Gaye's on the list. Teddy Pendergrass is on the list. Texter says Iron Maiden. Well, if you got yourself the right kind of woman, Iron Maiden will work. Inagata-Davida.
That's not Iron Maiden, and that's one on me.
I'm just putting up that list. Forever. Another banger.
Not the original, but it's Luther. So, I mean,
It's just, it's like perfect. Is Luther Vandross anywhere on that list? He's got to be, right? He had a couple of mood setting songs.
that is who I'm playing right now.
But okay, besides this one.
Yeah. Oh, his entire albums. I've had a couple albums of his.
Texture said, writing these down. We'll update tomorrow after I attempt this tonight.
I mean, if you are a younger guy, there's a good chance that maybe your lady hasn't heard these before. And,
That's true.
And so you will discover them together in many ways. I mean, there you go.
Trey drops, You Are So Beautiful to Me on the list.
I don't know, Joe Cocker. Just again, you just.
I mean, that feels like the song is right. Maybe not the execution, or at least not from Joe Cocker. Maybe it is. I don't know.
How come we're only playing dudes though? I mean, what female comes to mind that you would play?
Adele's up there. Like I feel like Celine Dion has a couple of older ones that are in there. Let's see. Spotify has a list called 60 sultry songs of seduction sung by sophisticated, sexy sirens.
Ooh, alliteration.
I like
bunch
that a lot.
of alliteration.
Let's see. Etta James, not a bad pick. Ella Fitzgerald, not a bad pick. Julie London. She's on the list like 6 times. I don't think I know Julie London. Oh, Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt's on the list.
Yeah, but the only thing I know her singing is Santa Baby.
Doris Day. Not a bad pick.
This is like a really, really long list. I mean, really old list is what I mean. All right, here is supposed to be Julie London.
You give me the old
Digging the stand-up bass, yeah.
Stand-up bass, man. It's an unsexy instrument that builds the foundation for sexy music.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know this song, so.
Yep.
Sounds like a Bond song.
This will work for me every time. Every time.
My loins have been tingling.
Every time. It's perfect. You give me that sultry vixen voice, got a little gravel to it over a jazz, like a light, smooth jazz. It's gonna work every time. Texture says Boys to Men. Yeah, again, I think a little bit more generationally specific, but for a hot minute, Boys to Men owned the mood setting scene in the music industry. Owned it. It was, if you wanted, when Rob Brown was like high school to very early college, if it was mood set in time, Boys to Men came on first. Hands down. That's a good call. Good call. I feel like we got brackets going. We got like the classics. We got like the late 90s, early 2000s, the 2010s and beyond.
All right, Diddy. Why you put Jewel on your list? I don't know.
Jewel actually had some sexy stuff. Yeah.
I just think Who Will Save Your Soul, but I just doesn't.
Save your soul.
We're gonna celebrate all through the night. This was the song for a hot minute. Girl, your wish is my command.
I will tell you, Rob doesn't remember a lot of lyrics, but all these songs he remembers. I wonder why.
I will do anything. Yeah. All right. Chris Rock had a theory. Like you want me to. Chris Rock had a theory that your favorite kind of music is the music you were listening to the first time you wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Your favorite kind of music is the music you were listening to the first time you had your first few runarounds with the other sex. That's what is always going to occupy a special place in your heart. And it doesn't just mean the bow chicka bow wow music. It just means whatever the cultural hotspots were when you first started to
This is a song that I was talking about, by the way.
All right, we're going to let that roll. I'll finish the thought.
Okay.
Whatever was like the cultural phenomenon when you started moving into the, shall we say, adult portion of particular aspects of your life, that is always to you going to be like, that was when culture was at its peak. Doesn't matter where you are, what you were doing. Whatever was big in American culture, when you first started participating in the old unskinny bop, 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 that's going to be that you're going to always carry that is like, this was peak. This was peak generational performance by America. And I actually think that's pretty fair. I do.
Can't believe you haven't heard this before.
I don't think I know what this.
Dude.
It's not bad. It's a little too chunky for the bow chicka bow wow music.
Everybody has their own rhythm, Rob. Everybody
different
has
strokes for different folks, you know?
so to speak.
Texture said these would all be great if I was over 50 years old. I mean, maybe.
All the stuff that's out now is not safe to play. So, I mean,
that's not unfair either.
Be a bunch of bleeps or like lacks of sound.
Texture said Robin Thicke. Texture said take my breath away. Texture said Steel Panther. I'm going to tell you right now, there are some ladies out there that would get down to the Steel Panther. And if you found one, you found a unicorn. All right? You found a unicorn. Hang on to that.
You know, late 80s, early 90s, the power ballad from all those guys.
Power ballads were it for a minute. Like power ballads for a minute kind of, I'm not going to say replaced R&B as the bow chicka bow wow music of choice, but it was real close. Real close. Let's see. Texture said, feeling pretty good at work right now, Rob. Might go play these around the office administration and see what happens.
Hi, I'm HR. Nice to meet you.
Hello, lady.
April texts the show. She said Enigma was it back in the day.
Really?
Enigma.
Yeah, it's because of the beat for Enigma. You know Enigma, right?
I'm just saying, for that type of music in that type of scenario, rhythm is everything. We all know that. For that type of music in that particular mood, that's why R&B is a rhythm-based platform. That's the reason. I'm just waiting for Lonzo to get some Enigma going. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Right out of the gate.
By the way, this is from Upstate Pulse. That's how I knew I had it.
Yeah. This is just that fluid moving together movement. You know what I mean?
All right, it's starting to get creepy.
It's been creepy from the beginning of the segment, dude.
No, we're helping
the fellas of the upstate out,
especially a younger demographic.
For sure.
Just because, when I'm 50, hey man, you don't know till you try it, right?
That's true. And again, it's not about what works for you. It's about what works for her. Oh, yeah. You know what it is? It's like spa music, but more. Like, oh, yeah. April, good call.
I don't have any
good call.
I don't have any with them chanting, which, the chanting, yeah.
Texter said Edwin McCain. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to kick it. I had to tell Edwin McCain no once. It still bothers me. No, because he was supposed to go in and do an interview with someone, and the person that he wanted to do an interview with said, "No, I'm not doing it. You tell him no." And so I had to stare into his eyes and go, "Sorry, dude, it's not my fault."
Yeah. He'll be your crying shoulder.
He looked very disappointed. And I heard that song in my head while I'm telling him no.
Incredible, man. Incredible. Edwin McCain. Let's see. How about Triple H? Time to play the game. Yeah, you can say that in your head, like you're hyping yourself up. That moment, like it's date night, it's it's about that time. Yeah, if you want to go Motorhead in your head to get the motor going, that's a great call. But don't say it to her.
I'm just
hey baby,
listen.
How you doing?
Listen,
it's time to play the game.
You have been to those kind of concerts. There are girls there that are into that kind of music, and maybe that's their thing.
Absolutely.
So it's knowing what their thing is.
100%.
The hard part is when you don't know and you're trying to figure it out.
100%. There are some chicks that Motorhead will work for them, for sure. Sail Away by AWOL Nation. Way up there. Texter said Muse for the win. Texter
Muse, really?
Yeah. Muse had some good stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, okay.
Texter said some Buck Cherry. Listen, I've been in a cover band for 17 years, and I mean it when I tell you. The song I have had requested most that is not Freebird, because there's always those jackasses in the crowd. The song that that's been requested the most is that one Buck Cherry song. And you know what song I'm talking about.
I don't, but I'm glad I don't. Probably.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you. Texter said, George Michael, end of conversation. Wham!
Which George Michael song?
George Michael.
Faith. Yeah, that would be Wham more so than.
For a song about screwing up a chance at love, that is a sexy song.
I don't know if anybody else likes New Edition, but this song.
New Edition.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call. I'd say that. See, this is better than the other one you played for that particular moment in time.
I don't care. I'm not gonna let you diss my song, but that's fine.
Your song.
This is also one of my songs, so
dude, this. Oh yeah, this will work.
You've never heard this song?
Nope.
Wow.
Don't think I have.
Yeah, I am.
It might catch me when they get to the hook, but I don't know it as of right now.
Bobby Brown had left the group, and Johnny Gill is singing right now.
Whitney Houston had some stuff that could be on this list. Whitney had some great sexy stuff. I'm not mad about this at all. Texas said, I don't care about before, but I like to drop a little Ric Flair. Whoa! Afterwards.
Yeah, but does she?
That means one of two things. Either it's your first time or your last time with that lady. All right. Either you've been with that lady for a while and you get done and you drop a Ric Flair woo and she's like, all right, go clean the freaking sink, dude. Or
go clean
she's
the
gonna
sink?
be like, hey, lose my number. Lose my number. All right. This was a thing that happened, but see you never. See you never. Texter said, color me bad. Mic drop. Dishes are done.
Wait a minute,
right.
try it. What? I'm gonna sex you up. I think it's
That's
me
the
bad.
one he went with.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And 100%, that's a him that sent that text. 100%. Not even first text.
You
ever.
don't know that for sure. You do not know that for sure.
I do. For sure, I do. There's nothing but a dude that is going to use dishes are done as their pickup line, as their closer. The closer is the dishes are done. That's a dude. It's 100% a dude.
If you say so.
Texture said, for me, it's always the last time.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
We need to go to break.
Yeah, we do. This was an important conversation, though. And I hope all of you took something away from it.
Public service.
You're all very, very, very welcome.
Yes!
I don't want to go to break. I just want to keep doing this. But we got to go to break. Back after this. Actual sports, I promise, when we come back on the Rob Brown Show.
This can be a sport. Just saying.
Burn some calories. It's the Fan Upstate.
Passionate sports talk. Of course he did it. It's break time, Wesley. I need to go too, but I wasn't going because you said that. You tune into a public service, Stephen. It's something that some people needed. As an award-winning program, we provide.
I have breaking news.
You're not going to hear Diesel do that because it's going to be all double bass pedal stuff. So, I mean, yeah.
Girl, I love you. I have breaking news for all of you that none of you care about, but all of you will know. The fiance and I have just hit our first dance song, and I think it's perfect. Faithfully by Journey.
Can you dance to that?
Oh, hell yeah.
I suppose you can.
Hell yeah, you can.
I'm going to label that segment love ... music.
Today, pleasant with plenty of sunshine, high of 62.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help.
Golden State tried to convince LA and LeBron to consider a trade to pair him with Steph Curry at the deadline. America would have broken if that happened.
And they would have blamed LeBron, of course.
Texter said, definitely a dude here. Color Me Bad was my profile song on MySpace. # old.
Back when all those vocal groups were coming out. Can't call them bands. They didn't play instruments. You have to play an instrument to be a band, right? Do you agree or disagree?
To be a band, yes. If you don't play instruments, you're a group. I will refer to all as artists.
Yeah. Well, I'm not disparaging, but you're not a band if you don't actually play something.
I would agree with that.
No, it's not the water cooler cheat sheet. It's the water cooler cheat sheet. The other thing's totally different.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the fan upstate. Robin Lonzo with you. Last one I'm saying, then I'm moving on. All for One. Yep. All for One goes way up on the top of that list.
I'm really surprised there weren't any actual boy bands. Although I did play Boys to Men. We did play Boys to Men.
We did.
And we played New Edition, which was one of the original boy bands. But
Also,
no NSYNC, none of those. You know.
I told you guys that Buck Cherry was one of the most requested songs that my band has gotten. And our boy Shane wrote in and asked if it was their song Crazy. And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. And the weirder part about that is not that Crazy is the most requested song in the history of my band. It's that it is 90% of the time. I'm not exaggerating. I'm the guy who talks to the crowd. Wait.
Okay.
Let me finish this thought because it's going to blow you away, I think. 90%. I am the guy who talks to the crowd in my band. That's the only reason I'm on stage. I'm the least talented musician on the stage. I am there for crowd work and crowd work only. I talk to people. I'm the one that takes requests in our band. 90% of the time when someone requests Crazy, 90% of the time it's a woman. 90% of the time it is a woman.
Can you throw some lyrics my way from that song?
Nope. Sure can't.
Why not?
Sure
I'm trying to recognize
because
what it
I don't
is.
want to tick off you, my boss, or the FCC primarily. That's why.
Does it play on the planet?
If they do, there's a lot of words taken out. You know how sometimes you listen to a song and every now and then you hear that song where like the singer just disappears every now and then? It's that, but like most of the song.
It's like when I hit the dump button here.
Right.
It's the same thing, yes.
Right. Like if I sang that song on the show, it would just be majoritively.
So Lester says some Bone Thugs,
Bone
and
Thugs.
Harmony and some Mariah Carey.
You ain't wrong. Texas head out of Bill Biv DeVoe's Poison. Oh man, it's a good one. It's a real good
Me
one.
and the crew used to do her. Yeah. So the line does stand out. I mean, you know.
All right. That's it. I feel like we've saturated the market now. All right. If we didn't help you just build a Valentine's Day Bow Chicka Bow Wow playlist, then that's on you. Because that list was elite.
Man, you got it so good. Playlists are so easy compared to putting a mixtape together. When I say, I mean a cassette tape.
Like a tape.
An actual tape.
Yeah.
Mixtape came from a mixed cassette tape.
Yeah. By the time it wrapped around to my generation, we were burning CDs.
Which was a lot easier, but definitely not as easy as a playlist.
I did in the younger days, early in the day, in the younger days, I was the dude that recorded songs off the radio on a cassette tape, which was always great until the singer finished that last note and immediately was, you're listening to Hot 105.5 right here in the Emerald Coast. And it's like, dude, shut up. You ruined it. You ruined the song. Now I gotta listen 4 hours until you play it again and hope your afternoon DJ doesn't suck like you do. Stop. Washington State University's Kirk Schultz. You like that smooth, almost as smooth of a transition as Marvin Gaye from the hook to the chorus. Washington State's Kirk Schultz will formally present to college football playoff leaders next week a proposal for the Pac-12 to be treated as a Power 5 conference in revenue and voting rights in the future. He said, quote, we just don't feel that we should be regulated by no fault of our own. I'm going to go ahead and say regulated is a fine word. Relegated is the word you were probably looking for. Schultz's proposal delayed a vote on the college football playoff, moving from a 6+6 format to the 5+7 format we talked about earlier, but he shot down the idea that his vote is tied to the granting of his proposal and indicated Washington State would be better off in the 5+7 model as it has more at-large targets, which, by the way, is true. In November, commissioners adopted a policy requiring a league to have at least 8 members to qualify for an AQ. The policy change did not need board approval and was implemented last month, effectively eliminating the Pac-2 champion from AQ consent. By the way, who do you think makes the Pac-2 championship game next year? Question mark. They actually wouldn't have one. You got to have a certain number to have a championship game, but you get the point. The jokes are there. Dude, listen. Kirk Schultz is going to get dunked on for this. He shouldn't. Okay? He's going to get dunked on for this, but he shouldn't, because here's the reality. Washington State and Oregon State are screwed. We talked about this earlier. All right? They might as well be playing Marvin Gaye music. They're so screwed. They're in trouble. And the reality is, and we talked about this, the reason that there was such a vicious fight for the Texases and the Oklahomas, the reason the Big 12 fought so hard to keep them from moving, the Pac-12 voted so hard or fought so hard to keep the 10 teams that left from leaving, is this. Because there's not enough out there to build another power conference. Now, I will tell you, there is I think there's a better than good chance that down the line, the Pac-2 just goes away and Washington State and Oregon State end up joining SMU and Stanford in the ACC. And it's going to become literally a nationwide conference. I would not be shocked, because Kirk Schultz is going to fight his ass off to try to keep the Pac-2 as a Power 5 team. It's not going to work. There's no justification for it. It sucks to be you guys. You got musical chaired out of existence. It stinks. I'm not going to disagree. It stinks. But it is the reality. What is nice and what is comfortable versus what is reality is very different. The reality is there is no sustainable way for the Pac-2 to exist. There's just not. There's not enough teams with a large enough footprint out there for the Pac-2 to move on. Who's left? Notre Dame's not going to a conference. Their contract with NBC got expanded. They're not going anywhere else. Who's left? The only way that it would be sustainable is if the ACC dissolves and the Pac-2 was still in existence and said, join us, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, etc. But here's the reality. They can't. Part of the reason that George Kliavkoff is getting fired as the commissioner of the Pac-12 is because between he and Larry Scott, they had the opportunity to come up with a media rights deal that would have kept them competitive. Competitive, not on par with the Big Ten and the SEC, just competitive. And they didn't. They failed to do that. That is a large part, the largest reason that the 10 schools are all bailing out. because the Big 12 and the Big 10 are going to be able to give them more money. And as we've said a million times and a million times again, at the end of the day, as much as college football is all about the passion, that's why I like it better. Fans love to hit on, it's not about more than the money. It's only about the money. Only, exclusively about the money. That's why they're all leaving. So because the Pac-12 does not have a media rights deal that's even competitive with the ACC or the Big 12, they have no leverage to attract anybody. They're done. They're toast. They're gone. Washington State and Oregon State are going to have to find somewhere else to go. The ACC feels like the most logical possible reality for that down the line, though the Big 12 will be in the mix as well. It's just going to depend on which of those two is able to pay them more. And this is part of the reason that Florida State loudly and Clemson and Miami and North Carolina quietly are ticked off about the ACC media rights deal. The fact that it was locked in for such a long time means that they can't negotiate. The fact that they can't negotiate means that they can't get more money. The fact that they can't get more money means they can't spread more around. Now, Oregon State and Washington State joining the ACC would trigger a per-school clause that would pay them a little bit more, but that little bit more would just have to go to Washington State and Oregon State, so the schools in the conference wouldn't get anything. It's an ugly reality, but it is a reality nonetheless. And it is a reality that I told you 4 years ago, almost to the day when I got here. Lonzo's pointed this out many times. I have pointed out for this long, the inevitable conclusion to this is a monopoly on college football held by the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. That's the inevitable conclusion. We may not have known 4 years ago that it was going to be the Big Ten and the SEC, but we knew the inevitable conclusion was you were going to end up at maximum with two giganto conferences that were in control of the most prestigious brands in college football. And then you were going to end with everybody else struggling for survival. Part of that is because we as a country, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, I'm just saying it is the reality. We as a country watch teams that win and don't watch teams that lose. This is why I have made a point of saying for years, as much as some of you think I'm trying to pick a fight, I'm not. We don't love the game, we love winners. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's the reality. We don't love the game. We love winners. If a local team starts winning trophies, ask anybody. Ask the guys running the Rabbits or the Triumph or the Drive or anybody else. If a local team starts winning trophies, their audience numbers go up. Their spectator number goes up. Their gate goes up. And if they start getting dumped before the playoffs, their attendance figures go down. We don't care about the game. We care about winners. We give money to winners. We don't go, hey, this program's fighting its ass off. We go, are they winning or are they not? That's it. We care about the teams that we have a direct connection to, right? I'm never going to stop being a Saints fan no matter how bad they are. I may participate less, but I'll never stop being a fan. But when it comes to, all right, are you turning on a Sunday night? Are you turning on Sunday Night Football? The answer 100% depends on who's playing. Is it two teams fighting it out for the 1 seed in the NFC? This is why Thursday Night Football is not turning Sunday Night Football numbers. It's not because we care less about the NFL on Thursday nights. It's because Thursday nights kept giving us Chicago versus Arizona. And we don't care about the game. We care about winners. Which, hey, it's got its pros and its cons like everything else. So when it comes to this Pac-12 situation, they're done because there's no more winners in it. And there's no more winners to go into it. They lost the media rights deal. The teams they have left in it they're fine programs. They're good programs. They're respectable programs. They're commendable programs. But nobody sees Oregon State competing in the playoffs next year. Nobody sees Washington State were right there for a minute. But their resources go down. And here's the ugly truth. The harder it is for you to get resources, the harder it is for you to win. Point blank, end of story. Clemson's not mad because of the prestige of the ACC being dinged up. They're mad because South Carolina and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and all these schools that surround them geographically, that recruit against them geographically, are going to be in 4 years making double the money that they make. It is one thing for me, for instance, because y'all know I like to make it about me. It's one thing when another host in a market is making twice the money I'm making to do the same job. Am I envious? Sure. Would I like the same setup? Sure. Hypothetically speaking. But there's a difference between that guy over there makes double the money I make for the same work versus that guy makes double the money that I make, and if I don't get to that point, I lose my career. I lose my job. That's kind of the threat that these schools are under. The reason that old boy from the Pac-12 is making a whole presentation next week about how his two-team conference should be treated like a Power 5 team is not because of the prestige, it's because of the money. And it's because of the fact that if they go away, those two teams are going to end up in the Mountain West. And if they end up in the Mountain West, they're not catching $80+, $90+ million. They are, in terms of relevance and ability to compete, they're gone. If the ACC doesn't change something, and Florida State and Clemson and Miami are catching half the annual funding that their direct geographical rivals are getting in the SEC, they're done. That's why they're fighting the ACC. The ACC doesn't want to go away because they won't exist anymore, and all those people in leadership roles won't have jobs. That's why Clemson fans should be huge FSU fans, ... in the courtroom. Chad says we got to take a break. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I got to step away for just a minute, make a phone call. I'll be right back. Please don't. Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Hey, speaking about college foosball, James Franklin had some NIL portal comments yesterday. You want to take a stab at where we're going with that? I'll give you one guess. We'll talk about that coming up in the next hour of the radio show. We got to talk a little Daytona 500 qualifyings tonight, dudes. It is officially NASCAR season right now, this moment in time, today.
Yeah, but can you tell your significant other, sorry, I had Valentine's Day plans, but I gotta watch that.
I'm going to see Journey tonight. We pick
and Toto.
I'm obviously dramatically more excited about Journey than Toto, and I think that's completely fair and valid. Toto has more songs than I realize that they did. Like, Hold the Line, Africa, Rosanna, whatever.
Rosanna, Donna.
But there's more songs that I didn't know that were Toto that I know.
99. Did you mention 99?
I did not.
Yeah.
Georgie Porgy.
Yeah, which is weird.
It is weird.
Pamela was also a hit. Yeah.
Stop Loving You.
Yeah, which is that has the killer keyboard in it. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot more Toto songs than I recognize. So the question is, and I assume at this point in their career, it's just a greatest hits concert, right? Like, we're hitting every song you've ever heard that we play.
Well, just like, Journey, I think, came out with a new album like 5 or 6 years ago. And yeah, you probably didn't know about that. I don't think Toto's had a new album in a while. I could be wrong.
I didn't know about it, but listen, for those of you that are going to see Journey tonight and it is your first time, number one, if you see me walking around, please come say hi. All right. I enjoy meeting people, especially at concerts. If you see me, come say hi. Second off, when they start, here's what I'd like you to do. If this is your first time seeing them, their new lead singer is a guy by the name of Arnel Pineda. He obviously took over for Steve Perry. When the show starts, face away from the stage. Wherever you're sitting, it's Journey. Wherever you're standing, face away from the stage. Face the other way, shut your eyes, and tell me it's not Steve Perry up there singing.
Is this still the dude that won the contest that
Yes.
couldn't speak English?
Yes.
And yeah, it is pretty amazing.
Yes. If you turn around, this dude, they found him in like an online Steve Perry impersonation contest or something wild, right? If you turn around and face the other direction when this guy starts singing, shut your eyes and tell me he's not Steve Perry. You can't do it. You can't do it. They found him on YouTube. That's what it was. They found him on YouTube. Journey was like, yo, this dude sounds pretty good. They sent him an email. Tell me you've never, you ever read an email before that you're like, I'm 99% sure that this is a scam, but there's just enough there that you're like, but maybe.
It's easy to fool us, though, because we get emails and stuff from people who are fairly famous, and you're like, oh, and then you find out it's a scam.
So this guy was singing in a band in, I think, Hong Kong, covering songs by Journey and Aerosmith and Zeppelin and Stryper.
So this is like a real life rock star from Marky Mark.
Yeah. So he was uploading videos on YouTube. Somebody from Journey discovered him, sent him an email like, hey, we want to fly you to LA to audition for the band. And he was like, oh, this is a scam, and got rid of the email. And the guy from Journey repeatedly emailed him back like, no, dude, for real, I'm in Journey. Please. Oh, is it the Philippines? I thought it was Hong Kong. Doesn't matter. Sent him multiple emails like, no, dude, for real, I'm from Journey. I want you to come play. Guy kept being like, no, just stop scamming me. I'm not giving you money. Eventually got a phone call from the guy, figured out, oh, you really are being for real, flew to San Francisco, spent a week auditioning with Journey, and then they were like, yeah, you're the Steve Perry now. And this guy's good. I've seen Journey twice with this guy. This will be my third time seeing him. He's good, dude. He's good. He's real good.
How old does he look now? Does he finally look? He's probably like in his 30s now, right?
Let's see. Ariel Pineda is currently. Oh, it's not on his Wikipedia. How am I supposed to know things if it's not on Wikipedia? What are we doing here, Wikipedia? Get your lives together. He was. Let's see. He started playing. I'll have to find it. Now I got it. Now I gotta go find this cat. Oh, here he is. He is 56 years old.
A lot older than I thought. Then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he's
rose to prominence in the Philippines during the 80s, internationally in the early 2000s, and then became the lead singer of Journey. He was born in 1967.
Which is, dude is 1 year older than me. So, wow. For some reason, I thought he would be younger than that.
Started his music career when he was 15 in 1982 as the lead singer of the Filipino group Ijos. Used to sing in a Shakey's Pizza Parlor. That was the start of his music career. Now he's lead singing for Journey. That worked out well. Worked out pretty well. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, probably mostly sports in the final hour of the show.
And love.
And love. That guy over there, that's Alonzo. My name, Rob Brown. I can't do that. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. We got 1 hour left. We hit it hard when we come back. This is the Fan Upstate.
Sorry, I'm too old to push two buttons at once to go
Sports
with
Flash.
the musical interlude. You know, North Carolina's quest for a 1 seed took another hit last night as the Tar Heels fell to the Syracuse Orange. Such a weird name. 86-79, giving Syracuse their first win over a top 10 team since 2019. The Orange shot 63% from the field and 47% from deep. College football playoffs will take a step towards their final form on February 20th when the playoff board is expected to vote on and likely approve the 5+7 model. The only holdout is the Pac-12, who don't have 12 teams, who have asked to delay the change while they sort out their future. If approved, the 5+7 model would give playoff spots to the top teams. Tune in tonight at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team take on VMI on Valentine's Day, right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball, the Fan Upstate. Paladine is a god from Weiss and Hickman, TSR, and can I say? Oops. Also goes by the name of Fizzband and Fireball. Anyway. Remember to share, James, when you get those millions.
Me too.
Nailed it.
I mean, banger, dude. Banger.
It's just curious.
I just found on TikTok. God, I hate saying that sentence.
I just found on TikTok
a account that takes this guy built a war simulator, and he built different World War II battles like the Battle of Bulge, Normandy, etc. And then he inserts modern weaponry into it on one side to see how different it'd been. So I just watched one where an F-111, which is a air to surface, basically it's a flying bomb factory, attacked the beaches of Normandy. And basically he was like, if you had one of these planes on a carrier that could like drop bombs, fly back, rearm, drop bombs, you could have won Normandy without casualties on the American side. It's cool, man.
By the way, that AI thing I was talking about yesterday, they're playing around with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got those emails.
I did not.
Yeah. Mark put it in, and apparently it says Carolinas instead of the Carolinas. Don't think I'm not going to have fun with that. Like I said, for Saturday, I'm going to do an entire thing of. Now, I don't know. That's kind of making fun of some. I don't know. Ooh, I wonder how it will say Weenus and Pitts. Oh, I got to do that now. I got to do that now.
Yeah, I need a link to this thing so I can play around with it today.
We could get it to do the entire all that imaging I was talking about for that.
Yeah. Yeah. The fourth and final hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, my friends, is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass, punching the ones and twos today. You want to be a part of the broadcast? Now is an excellent time to do it. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is right there for you at 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. If you want to call in and jump on the air, you can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. All the different ways to get in touch with the radio broadcast today. I got a lot of things that I want to run through in this, the final hour of the Wednesday edition of the program. Let's start with this. I am very excited. Because though, I like to travel. I like to go places. I like to experience different cities and cultures and whatnot. I'm just that kind of guy. But I like to, when I get the opportunity to do so, I like to incorporate sportsing into those things. I like seeing the different sports cultures of different landscapes across America, across the world. Next year, the NHL's Winter Classic will be going back to Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Blackhawks will take on the St. Louis Blues. That's a good little rivalry game. Good little rivalry matchup. This game taking place, obviously, on a rink inside of Wrigley Field. You buy a ticket, you're sitting in the Wrigley bleachers. It is going to be in the dead of winter in Chicago, in the Windy City. But our guy, the CBO of the Greenville Triumph, Doug Irwin, big hockey guy. He's one of my NHL dudes that I talk hockey with. Texted him earlier, like, bro, are we going to Chicago? He's like, I think we are. Now, here's my question. I get an opportunity to go watch one event in Chicago, Illinois. Do I go watch my first sporting event in Wrigley Field as a baseball game? Maybe Cubs-Cardinals, another good rivalry game. Or is it okay for my first trip to Wrigley to be an NHL Outdoor Winter Classic contest?
Here's the thing, for the brand, for your brand, you need to go see the baseball game. I know you do all these sports, but you do have this show on Saturdays that's primarily a baseball show. And that would be considered, I would think, tax-wise, a work trip.
It will be. And here's the thing. It's a good setup either way. The BetQL folks are based out of Chicago. I already reached out to them. They're like, dude, if you come up, we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you set up. In fact, one of them was like, hey, if you need to, if you got to come up here and you need to spend an extra day and you want to do your show, we can set you up to do your show from the studios in Chicago, which would be kind of cool, to be honest with you. I've appeared on this show once already from New York City. We could add the Windy City to that list.
Hopefully with video provided, because that would be even cooler.
It would be. But it's Wrigley Field. And as much as I love the Winter Classic, I think it's a great thing the NHL does. You guys know I love a gimmick. Love a gimmick in sports. That's the home of the Chicago Cubs, man. That's where the Cubbies play. On one hand, I really want to go see this Winter Classic. If it was in Fenway again, I'd probably go back because I've seen a baseball game. Not only have I seen a baseball game at Fenway, I saw Bo Sox Yankees at Fenway. Can't do better than that. I feel like I got to see the Cubs play at Wrigley before I see an NHL game, even if it's the Winter Classic. But the setup's perfect. The guys from BetQL, the guys from the station in Chicago, they can get me in. I got a place to stay. Hating-ass Mario lives up that way. I got radio resources if I need them. Like, it's the perfect setup, but it's not the Cubs at Wrigley. It's somebody else. What's the right call here, people? Is the right call to have my first Wrigley Field experience be a hockey game, even if the setup's perfect? And by the way, all these things are true for the Cubs, too. I can just go up there any weekend and get taken care of. But the Cubs play 82 games a year at Wrigley. There's one hockey game every 3 or 4 years max at Wrigley as they take the Winter Classic around the country. What's the right call? Cubs game or the NHL Winter Classic? We'll talk more about that if and when we get closer to me doing it.
Let me also throw something in there. Weather should come into play there.
Oh, it's going to be snowy and cold for a hockey game.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like if you're going to a hockey game, that's just part of the environment.
No, I know, but it's also getting in and out and all that kind of stuff with the kind of snow that they get there. The other thing, I mean, all you got to do is contend with the wind because it's Chicago.
It's true.
City.
And Cubs games, like if you go to a Cubs game in July, you know, you're in shorts and a T-shirt sitting out in the left field bleachers. I don't know. I'm up in the air about it. I'm back and forth. All right, a couple more stories I want to get into. We have talked at length on this show. Speaking of hockey, here's a hockey story, kinda. It's a crossover story. I really don't hesitate to make the things that agitate me in the world of sports known on this show. It's part of the appeal, part of the charm. One of the things that irritates me in sports is the concept of the unwritten rules. And more importantly, player v. player enforcement of the unwritten rules. We had an unwritten rule violation in the NHL the other day. The Ottawa Senators were taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, even if you're not a hockey guy, stick around because this does pertain to, well, all the other sports, baseball predominantly. End of the game, 5.1 seconds left. Senators rookie Ridley Gregg got a breakaway. Empty netter. And on an empty netter, most of the time, the expectation is that you're just going to kind of guide the puck into the net. Not that you don't score, but you're just going to kind of guide the puck into the net. You're just going to tap it in that direction, let it slide in. Ridley Gregg the other night decided, no, bleep that. And from 12 feet away, Zoe, with 5.1 seconds left, unleashed a full power slap shot into the back of the unguarded, untended net. Well, Toronto Maple Leafs defensive man Morgan Riley said, nuh-uh, that's an unwritten rule violation, and I feel the need to enforce that rule. He skated up to Ridley Gregg and hit him in the dome with a cross check. That's a check where you use the stick as a weapon. He has been suspended for a, quote, forceful intentional strike to an opponent's head, using the stick as a weapon to exact retribution on an opponent well after a goal is scored, end quote. That according to NHL Player Safety. The 29-year-old Riley had no on-ice disciplinary history in his 11-year professional career, and Ridley Gregg was not injured on the play. So I'm good with the suspension. Suspended 5 games by the NHL Department of Player Safety for the cross-check. I'm good with the suspension.
What do you think his team feels about that?
That's the thing, because a lot of them have come out to defend him, as have other players from around the league. Austin Matthews is a star center. came out and said that it wasn't a malicious play and that Greg's provocative empty netter deserved a response. Matthew said, quote, somebody was going to do it. I just don't think it's really necessary to go down there and hardest shot competition the puck into the net, end quote. Greg's teammates acknowledged the Ottawa rookie may have, quote, broken an unspoken rule with his slap shot, end quote, according to ESPN, but they felt Riley's response was too harsh. Other players.
Wait, see, this is blowing my mind because hockey's supposed to be that sport where they don't have these whiners. Yeah, but
call it what it is. Hockey's the most you sport that
yeah,
you can play, right?
I mean, the net was open. Dude took the shot. Whether he did it with finesse or used his skate, which I don't know is legal or not.
It is.
Okay.
The only thing you can't use to score with is your hand carrying the puck.
Okay. So I mean, whether he followed it down like he was curling, I mean, I don't care. The net is open. It's just so stupid.
Maple Leafs coach Sheldon Keefe called his actions, quote, appropriate, end quote. Claude Giroux, legendary player, said the emotion sometimes gets you. I obviously don't like to see him getting in the face there, but there's not really much to say. Sometimes that stuff just happens. I am going to go with, look, I've got a different attitude, a different mentality towards hockey than I do any other sport. Fight breaks out in baseball, I'm like, all right, idiots, stop. Fight breaks out in football, I'm like, all right, man, 15 yards for you being a dummy. Yeah, have at it. That's what you want. Hockey fights happen, you're like, here we go. It's part of the game. You know that going in. In Pee-wees, you know everybody at some point is both throwing and receiving these hands. That's just part of the game. Taking a stick to a dude's noggin because you didn't like how he scored, it's a little over the line even for hockey. It's a little over the line. Now, if this would have been just a solid shoulder check to the ice, shoulder check to the boards after the play, I'd have been like, all right, man, it's kind of in. But here's the other thing. Who the hell cares and what the hell's the difference between that guy hitting a slapper in from 12 feet out and guiding it in from 12 feet out with 5 seconds left in the game, a game you've already lost? Is that really worth not just enjoy? And I guess maybe it's almost kind of hypocritical, Lonzo, because on one hand, I'm like, I'm not good with you taking a stick to the dude's noggin. On the other hand, I literally just said, hey, if two guys punch each other in the face often and repeatedly while standing on ice with steak knives strapped to their feet, I'm good with that. But I think there's a difference there in that 90% of hockey fights, it's two guys who want to go. It's two guys who want to throw down. Versus a dude who may or may not be paying attention and takes a twig to the dome. It's not great, man. The unwritten rule stuff has got to stop. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. It's just not good enough, man. All right. What else can we get to before we get up out of here? I got the James Franklin stuff coming up in the next segment of the show. Oh, yeah. NASCAR qualifying for Daytona 500 tonight. I have one episode left in the Netflix series about NASCAR. I have not said this, I don't think, about anything since The Last Dance. Even if you are not a NASCAR fan, watch this series. It's good. It's entertaining. I went into it as a NASCAR guy, hoping I was going to be entertained. The other night, I think it's 5 episodes. The other night, Zoe, I sat down to watch episode 2. I told you about a week ago, I watched episode 1 and I loved it. I sat down to watch episode 2. Started it at like 9 o'clock. They're 35-ish minutes long an episode, 35, 40 minutes long an episode. I sat down to watch episode 2. Episode 2 ended and it was, I need to go to bed, ... but one more won't hurt. So I watched one more, and then that one ended. And you know what I thought to myself? I got to go to bed. But one more episode's not going to hurt. And I watched episode 3. ... One more episode's not going to hurt. I watched episode 4. I'm obsessed with it. It basically tracks a crop full of drivers, predominantly young drivers, through last year's NASCAR Cup playoffs. It features Denny Hamlin, a guy who's won everything except a title. Bubba Wallace driving for 2311 Sports, by the way, a team that is owned by Denny Hamlin, except for Denny Hamlin doesn't drive for the team he owns. He drives for the team owned by Joe Gibbs. So they follow Denny Hamlin. I thought this was really interesting. A guy who drives for Joe, but owns 2311 in partnership with Michael Jordan. There's one spot in episode 3, I think, where Denny Hamlin says on his podcast, which is, if you're a NASCAR fan, it's a good podcast. He says on his podcast, if I'm in a spot late in a race and there's 4 guys running, there's 3 guys, let's say 3 guys running. There's me, there's a guy that is my teammate on Joe Gibbs Racing, and there's a guy that is the driver for the team I own, 2311 Sports, and those 2 are ahead of me, and I got to push one of them to victory. He said, Zoe, he would push the car belonging to the team that he owns, not the car being driven by the guy that he is a teammate of for the team that he is a member of. That's real interesting to me. And part of the episode that I found real interesting is that they kind of talk to Joe Gibbs. How do you feel if you're Joe Gibbs? On one hand, you've got one of the most dynamic and electric drivers in recent memory in Denny Hamlin, a guy that, and I knew that he was a little controversial at the track, though I didn't know why. Denny Hamlin is 110,000% kind of a jerk. But he's one of those jerks that it's like, you're a jerk, but also you beat everybody all the time. So I can hate on you for being a jerk, but I can do absolutely nothing about it. So they talk to Joe Gibbs. What an interesting spot he's in. On one hand, he needs Denny Hamlin to win. He's got multiple cars that he needs to get points to move on in the playoffs. And this guy in Denny Hamlin that has driven Joe Gibbs cars to so many victory lanes over the years, that driver just said, if I got a choice to push a Joe Gibbs car to a victory or push a 2311 Sport car to a victory, I'm pushing my team's car, not the car of the team that I drive for and am employed by and am paid by. And they kind of talk to Joe Gibbs and Denny Hamlin and Denny's teammates about that. It's wildly interesting. But I'll tell you why this thing is great. It's not so much the racing. It's not so much the competition, although they do feature the races, and they give you some pretty interesting looks. Like, for instance, at a race last year at, I believe it was Daytona? Bristol? I don't remember. One of them. Episode 2, I think. About how Denny Hamlin's pit crew was like a second off their mark, and it cost them a race. And it put him out of a guaranteed spot to move on to round 2 and into the elimination zone to move on to round 2. Then it talked about the fight they had to go through and the practices they had to go through to get that team back up to speed, how Denny was kind of upset, but at the same time, he knows he has a good pit crew that just made a mistake and how he handled that. Real intriguing. But here's what I liked about it. You guys know the complaint I've given you about Major League Baseball over the last couple of years? The biggest problem I have is that Major League Baseball, to me, doesn't advertise its stars. It advertises its teams. It leans on teams. Coming up this Saturday, Sunday Night Baseball, the Braves take on the Cardinals in the National. It's like, all right, great, good teams. If you're a fan of the Braves or you're a fan of the Cardinals, but how do you grow new fans? You grow superstars. Look at the NBA. The NBA does a better job than any other league at advertising its stars to get you hooked on the game and then hooking you on a team. Major League Baseball goes about it the other way around. They want to hook you on a team and then hopefully you discover stars. That's not what we focus on. America focuses in on its stars. We always have. This series is great because it does not focus on the teams. It does not focus on the track. It does not focus on the race. It focuses on personalities. It focuses on who these guys are off the track. And there's 2 reasons that's important. Number 1, you are about to enter a year in NASCAR where the average age of drivers is the youngest it has been in generations of drivers, decades of drivers. That means the old guys are being phased out. Kevin Harvick, he's done. He's out. One of the old men on the track. And the problem with NASCAR is you follow a guy for a very long time, but that guy, unlike most other sports, he's not connected to another guy. If you were a Jeff Gordon fan, when Jeff Gordon retired, you might have said, oh, I'll be a fan of the 24 car, but most of you weren't. So when Jeff Gordon stepped away, it's not like if you were a Jeff Gordon fan, you just moved your fandom to the next guy. There wasn't a next guy. You just kind of had to wait around until a driver did something that you liked. I became a Jeff Gordon fan only because when I got into NASCAR, I discovered real quick that if I walked into the local watering hole with a 24 DuPont Chevrolet Rainbow shirt on, everybody in the bar suddenly hated me. And yes, I enjoyed that a lot.
That's kind of a contrarian way of doing things.
No, it's a troll way of living that life, and I've been about that troll life for a while. It's the same reason that I went to a Super Bowl party last Sunday with a Taylor's Boyfriend shirt on. Because I just enjoy the reaction because I'm a jerk. What do you want? NASCAR doesn't have that. If you were a junior guy, when junior moved on, you didn't really have the next guy in line. So what this documentary did, and I thought was great, was it opened you up to go behind the scenes with a bunch of drivers. And by picking the playoff guys, a bunch of drivers that you know have some success. Maybe they're not dominant right now, but they're in the mix. They're in the game. And I thought that was great. So with the Sunday 500 coming up, go watch. If you get a chance, go watch this Netflix series. I'm asking you to put like 2 hours into it, even if you're not a NASCAR fan, because I think there's a very good chance you will leave this with a new appreciation for a tremendous sport and a sport, my friends, that we talk about at length on this show. And we will, because tomorrow, the majority of the starting grid will be filled out. Then we've got the duels coming up to fill out the rest of the field. Then on Sunday, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. The Super Bowl in NASCAR, the Daytona 500. So you can bet when we come back on Monday, guess what we're going to spend some time talking about? Going fast. And Tuesday is what I meant. When we come back on Tuesday, guess what we're going to spend some time talking about? Going fast and turning left.
Hell yeah!
Robin Lonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show. We talk about these James Franklin comments when we come back on the Fan Upstate.
You probably ain't even going to be in town Monday yet.
I'll be driving back Monday. Get back around 5 o'clock. I'm so in love with you. Can't get it out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. All right, dude. 7 away for 30 seconds. Be right back. Don't go. All right, dudes and dudettes, thanks for hanging in there. We back.
Is Dora still going?
Yeah, it's a new door now. They upgraded her.
I haven't paid attention to Dora since the kids got older, and the granddaughter isn't into Dora because I don't think her mom would allow it. But I don't know. Her mom was really into Dora.
They'll be the perfect fit every time.
Yeah, during that time, James, if anyone said, hey, do you like NASCAR? I always said, no, I don't. But if I did, I'd love Jeff Gordon.
The heel heat was real for
just
24.
to watch the anger on their face.
That's why I was a Jeff Gordon fan. Walking into the bar in the rainbow shirt and watching people lose their mind was just the best.
Because he ain't got no twang doesn't mean he can't race. Is he still doing commentary?
Mm-hmm. And he's good at it.
Yeah.
NASCAR is I think NASCAR is the sport where it is best and most important to have former athletes doing your commentary. Like, I think football's fine if you don't have former players. I think baseball's fine if you don't have former players. Hockey, fine without former players. NASCAR drivers provide a perspective on the game that I do not think somebody like me can ever have.
By the way, Rob convinced me to watch the movie yesterday, and he didn't watch it himself. Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, quite possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
To be clear.
And I'm an old, so I've seen a lot of movies, and it's bad.
To be clear, I'm 100% watching that movie.
When Roddy Piper is the best actor in the whole thing, by a bunch.
I'm going to watch that movie. I am not just going to watch that movie on a Tuesday. That movie is going to be, I'm bringing over some wrestling buddies. We're pouring some rum.
Do not do that to them.
100%.
Trust me. All right. You're going to say, Lonzo is right. I should not have brought them over for this.
No. Bringing over some wrestling buddies. Going to pour some liquor and going to enjoy that game.
I'd be willing to bet money you won't make it through the whole movie.
Oh, I absolutely will. I love a terrible B movie.
It's worse than that. Whatever the worst movie you've seen, this one's worse than that.
I can't tell if the hole in this hat's too big or if my hairline's receding, because usually I got a little tuft.
The answer to your question is yes.
I can't get the tuft going right now.
I had in my mind the worst movie I'd ever seen, and it was a movie called The Delivery Boys that I saw back in the 80s because we let one of the other guys in the group pick the movie, and then after that, it was always me, which is what it should have been, because I recognize good film, or at least ones that dudes would like. This has now taken its place as the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, I turned off Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey just because I didn't like the plot. Now, that thing's a masterpiece compared to this. The only reason why I stuck with it is because you said you were going to watch it.
Yeah, I know. We're beating a dead horse here, but I can't stop. Won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Penn State football coach James Franklin said yesterday, quote, "We've been on a slippery slope for a while. The college football that we've all known, that's not coming back. I don't think college football is heading in the right direction for anybody. I don't think it is right for the players. Before, coaches went too far and were limiting where players could transfer. Now they're abusing that. We went from one extreme to the other. You can't tell me it's good for the student athletes to transfer 3-4 times. Every time you transfer, the likelihood of graduating goes down. I don't think that's in anybody's best interest. The ability to overcome adversity in college athletics is really important. I think we've lost some of that," end quote. Okay. I got a couple of knee-jerk reactions to that comment when I read it yesterday from James Franklin, a guy that I like as a guy, but I also think we've kind of hit the point where I'm comfortable saying, yeah, James Franklin is not going to be able to win the big game. Can't do it. Penn State's got 2 big games a year right now with the Big Ten. They've got Ohio State, they've got Michigan, and he can't beat either one of them. So I'm not really banking on him winning a Big Ten title or a college football playoff quarter or semi or final either, if you can't get by a regular season rivalry game. But let's put James Franklin's coaching resume off to the side and just talk about the comments. I start by this, and I'm going to ask James Franklin, who I know is a big fan of the show. James, since you're listening, let us begin with the very first question. It's the question that I ask every time I hear the statement that James Franklin opened with. The college football that we've all known, that's not coming back. What do you mean by that? Because it is a very human and understandable trait to speak in vague generalities when you don't like a thing. That is why so many people, when they are telling you what's going wrong with this country, they speak in vague generalities.
Do they all sound like that with that accent and do the arm pump thing?
Shucks.
Okay, all right.
They speak in vague generalities. You will notice that one of my favorite things to make fun of is every time that the dreaded they comes into a conversation. It's always they. It's never whom. It's never names. It's never people. It's they. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to think. They don't want you to see. They. It's the clip they don't want you to watch.
So from now on, when you hear they, just substitute they with Rob. It just fits. It fits really well. Rob doesn't want you to think. Rob doesn't want you to do all that stuff.
You see, great one. That would be an improvement because then at least you would be naming a source of a problem, not just a vague generality. It's very easy to say they, because then what you don't have to do is provide any substance to your claim. They don't want you to see this clip. Who the hell is they? Who is the they that doesn't want me to see the clip? And what's your evidence that they don't want me to see it? You just saying they don't want you to see this clip doesn't do anything for me. It shouldn't do anything for you. So my question here is when you say, James, the college football that we've all known, that's not coming back. Give me specifics. Now, I think what he means is the portal here. Now, he said, quote, I don't think college football is heading in the right direction for anybody. Is it though? Is it though? It feels like what you're saying is it's not heading in the right direction for me, and that means it's not heading in the right direction for everybody. That's not how those words are.
I'm not trying to fight here, but you're the only one I've heard so far with your take on this. So they would be everybody else, and you would be the only one with the take on NIL and all that kind of stuff.
Let's talk to, I don't know, college football players, because I bet they're not in the they. I bet they're pretty good with the whole thing.
Okay, let's talk to them.
Right.
All right, let's talk to them.
You have to talk to them. There's been an interview. We've read quote after quote.
I don't recall those.
I would be willing to guess that college football players making NIL money, specifically those that are coming from, I don't know, low-income houses, high school programs that have never really had an opportunity to succeed, who now all of a sudden can make some change and pay for an apartment for their mamas, they're probably pretty happy with the direction we're going.
I don't blame them for taking advantage of the system that it is. You know, I mean, do it because it's out there.
Words are important to me. Taking advantage of implies a negative connotation. I don't think there is. The system is in place. They are running through the system the way the system is set up. They are doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my wording.
That's fine.
Because that's how I feel about it. They're taking advantage of a situation that may or may not exist in a few years. It's like a loophole for now, and it may become the norm. It isn't yet.
It's literally the norm right now.
Okay.
By definition, it's the norm right now.
And your anger towards they will be eternal because there will always be someone who wants to go back to the way things were.
No. I'm not the one with the they in it. I'm not the one that's saying the they. I am naming the names of the people.
You are a they in certain situations because everyone is.
Who's the one that has been for years talking about, well, there are probably colleges that are doing more in NIL than they're supposed to? That would be you and Shane Beamer and Dabo Sweeney.
Yeah.
So who are they?
The collective we.
Who are they?
Not the rest of us, the majority.
Who are they? Who are the people that are doing
the majority?
This? As I've said to Shane and Dabo and you and everybody else, all the others, who are they?
You mean everybody?
No, I mean everybody else. I'm not saying that it is me and the world against Lonzo and college football coaches.
Oh no, because it's not. It's just you. It's us against you.
No, it is absolutely not just Rob. It's not Rob versus the world here. It's not. There are a lot of people like me who do not care about NIL in the portal. They're fine with it. They don't care.
I just don't know any of them.
Sure.
You're the only one. You're the only one I know.
also
My
acknowledge-
circle is very small, so and that's on me because I'm not very sociable. So my circle is very small, but in my circle, you're the only one who's like this.
I will also acknowledge that I think the majority of people who are on my side of this debate are younger people, are people on my side. They are the same people that are out there marching for employee empowerment.
You put yourself in there with young people.
I am a young people
Okay.
compared to the people that are on the other side of this debate.
Oh, you mean compared to me? Okay, you're right.
No, the people on the other side of this debate. So this is what I've said in the past and say again. If you're not going to name names, then they doesn't mean anything to me. I've said it to people that I like a lot, or at least about them. I've said it about friend of the program, Shane Beamer. I've said it about Dabo, who, by the way, technically is a friend of the program. I've had Dabo on this show once. Friend of the program, Dabo Sweeney. Name the they, or the they is irrelevant to me. I can just say whatever you know what this is? This is the equivalent. This drives me nuts. There are news stations, and I'm air quoting news so hard that I'm pulling a finger here. News stations. They love to do this thing on the air. And what they do is they make a ridiculous claim, but then what do? They put a question mark on the end of it, because if you ask it as a question, it means you're not making a claim. Is the government hiding aliens from us? Question mark. It's like, dude, if you don't have any evidence that they are, so what you do is you say a claim in the form of a question.
Yeah,
unless you
but
make
you
a
do that
statement
to
with
get
some
people
evidence
to read
attached
an
to it
article. That sounds like a way to get someone to read
It
an
100%
article.
is. It's a way to attract attention to a thing that you are saying without providing a damn drop of substance to it.
How would you know if you don't read the article, though?
I don't have I will tell you right now, when you make a claim and you stick a question mark in the end of the article, I'm not clicking it.
Well, then
because you are quite literally telling me
then
you
don't
got nothing.
Then you don't know if they have proof or
Yes,
not,
I
because
do.
you're
Yes,
not
I
reading
do.
it.
Because if you had proof, you'd say it as a statement, not ask it as a question.
Not-
just like
Not if you want to
had
get fringe
proof,
people to look at it. People,
I don't give a damn.
Yeah,
That's not how it works.
It does work that way. You said you've seen it multiple times.
Right,
so.
and I ignore it, as all of you should. If you pop onto a news channel and there's somebody reporting a story and the story has a question mark on the end, you should ignore it. Because that's a cheap-ass way to get away with making something up without providing any evidence. Just like when somebody, again, friend of the show, Shane Beamer, goes, there are schools out there who are tampering with rosters and offer. Okay, cool. Call them out. Name them. Give me some evidence. Give me some proof. Because if you don't, I'm out.
I'm trying to get the question mark key off my keyboard, and I think that might be destructive. Maybe
Asking
I can
questions is
get
fine.
engineering to come in here, and because there are no question marks allowed on the Rob Brown show, apparently.
No, we make statements. We don't make predictions. We give spoilers. So
We were the only show on this station to predict the Super Bowl accurately. I just want to throw that out there. So you're right.
ding, ding, ding. Before coaches went too far and were limiting where players could transfer, now they're abusing that. We went from one extreme to the other. Dude, there's a 2 transfer rule still in play. 2 transfer rules still in play. Second time, after that, you got to sit unless you get the exemption.
Aren't there like some, I was going to say exemptions.
You get exemptions.
I mean,
Now, if you want to make the argument there, then argue with the NCAA to tighten the exemption list.
Yeah, what's the
That's
point?
not a problem with the players.
That organization is not going to exist in a few years.
I don't disagree with that either. But for right now, it does. And for right now, it's got to be addressed, at least the way that I feel about it. Franklin went on to call the Nittany Lions not a big transfer program, which is fine. It's hilarious to me that he's dropping all these bows on the transfer portal program, that he's dropping all these bows when Penn State has added Ohio State wide receiver Julian Fleming, Wisconsin offensive lineman Nolan Rucci, Georgia cornerback A.J. Harris, Florida cornerback Jalen Kimber, Tulsa kicker Chase Meyer, and Wisconsin defensive end Jordan Meyer. And I suspect, and I might be wrong here, but I'd be willing to bet, James, you're not going to make those cats sit out a year, are you, James? It's funny to me that James has got a big problem with the portal. Not a big enough problem not to use it. Not a big enough problem not to let kids come into his program and get better. Not a big enough problem not to stand on principle and make a stand against it. No. He's perfectly fine to let his team get better with the portal, but it's still bad.
Are there things in your life that you have to do even though you don't like them?
I'm sure there are. You have to give me a minute to think about it.
Okay, I'm just saying this is a situation where
I'd probably bail from Facebook if it wasn't for work. So Facebook.
I thought you'd say X because you're supposed to be off of that and move to Canada like 3 months ago or something like that.
Listen, X is a dumpster fire. I'm not going to disagree, but I have a dark sense of humor, so I enjoy watching it burn from the inside, right? I mean, if you're going to watch a train wreck, I want to be up close and personal to the tracks.
Well, that's probably a bad move for a train wreck, but
the point here is he goes on to say, it's gotten further and further away from what they've signed up for. Everyone knew you had to recruit to coach them. There was a balance between those two, but all these other things are taking you further away from developing and coaching these kids, and development is a word that isn't even used anymore. me. Okay, boomer. Like, that's one of the most okay boomer statements I've ever heard.
In an alternate universe, Rob is actually a college football coach, and he's just so frustrated with all this NIL and portal stuff.
I mean, maybe so.
I want to meet that Rob.
Maybe so.
Because I'm curious if he has the same sense of humor.
But as I said to Mike Loxley of Maryland the other day, you make James Franklin makes $10 million a year. If James Franklin,
just to be third place,
I'll tell you what, I will absolutely take 10 mil to just surround myself in mediocrity. James Franklin makes $10 million a year. Last I checked. I could be wrong on that, but it's around that ballpark. If it's not 10, it's more.
He's about to move down to like 4th or 5th place with Washington, right? And
Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks are coming, baby. James Franklin makes $10 million a year. If James Franklin really cared that much about development, he could pop, I don't know, $3 million a year back into an, educational advancement front at Penn State. I'm not saying he doesn't, but if he doesn't, it's certainly not publicized all that much. Seems like something you would want out in the public eye. Maybe he does, and I'll eat these words, but I'm willing to bet he doesn't.
Isn't philanthropy usually anonymous?
Not in the public eye anymore. That's the way it probably used to be.
I'm pretty proud that I was able to say that word without, because I was stumbling in my head.
Here's my question for Mr. Coach James Franklin.
Hey, Mr. Coach.
Mr. Coach Klein. Frank. James. Until 2013, actually, from 2011 until 2013, before you started getting paid double-digit millions of dollars a year from Penn State, you were the coach at another team. As a matter of fact, you were an SEC coach. You coached at Vanderbilt. The Doors, baby. You were anchors down. You were all in on anchors down. And then one day, came a call in the Nittany Lions. Penn State said, we need a new guy, because our old guy was evil. Joe Paterno was a bad guy. And now he's dead. And we need somebody in that office. Would you like to come here? And I wonder, Coach Franklin, how much time there was between the offer and you accepting it. Were you worried about player development at Vanderbilt? Were you worried about the promises you made those kids? Were you worried about, because I'm pretty sure when you got hired by Vanderbilt, I'm relatively sure you probably promised them you could develop their football program, advance their football program, grow their football program. I'm pretty sure you probably promised the kids that you recruited there as freshmen in 2011 that you were totes their guy, didn't you? And then 2 seasons later, a bigger, better job came calling, and you, dog, were gone with a capital Gone, gone. Here's what it is. Once again, James Franklin's job got tougher, and he doesn't like it. So to talk his way around it, instead of saying, my job got harder and I don't like it, you dress it up in vague idealism. I can't develop guys anymore. Did you stay for the guys you recruited to Vanderbilt? No. You took a better opportunity and you rolled with it. Nobody held that against you. Nobody got mad at you for going. Stop dressing up the fact that you're upset your job got harder with these vague idealisms. It's obnoxious. We're back after this to wrap up the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Stare any harder, my eyeballs are going to hit you.
So my Google Pixel has just added an AI message generator to its texting capabilities. So if you don't know what to write back, you can push the button and AI will help you craft a response.
You guys keep laughing about the AI takeover like it's not going to happen when we're in the midst of, or at least the beginnings of the takeover. Buy your property out in the middle of nowhere. Find a way to sustain yourself. Get on one of those prepper mailing lists or something.
Those people have got to be rolling in cash right now. The prepper supply companies have got to be doing real good.
Right, because the panic has only just begun.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's Charlie James. The state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only option. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct.
Also, if you know a John Connor, that's your guy. That needs to be your buddy. Take that guy out to lunch.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. Greenville and Asheville. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long.
Everything I am, everything in me wants to be the man you wanted me to be.
Let's play. Guess what was playing in the bathroom? The bad part is with the AI, there are some parts of this job where there's no way that you're going to be able to continue without using it. I'm not going to go into detail, but they're going to be, and we're on the edge of some of that, which I think will cause some people to no longer have jobs. This is another one of those businesses that shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. I remember back in my day when I first started radio, there were DJs live overnight in this very building.
There is a station in...
Used to roll into Scary Ted every morning as he was ending and I was beginning.
In one of the big cities that recently got in trouble because they fired their afternoon host and replaced her with a straight-up AI, except for they trained the AI in her voice.
In her voice, yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This thing is shrinking. And the better AI gets, the more expendable actual people are.
The utopian hope as opposed to the dystopian belief. The utopian hope is that one day we get to a point where AI does everything. And nobody has to even work anymore. We just all are good.
Wow, laziness. What about, yeah, there would be
a world in which you don't have to work. You're free to do whatever.
You know, the first
all your needs are met at all times.
you mean the first Matrix, that failed because if you recall in the movie, the first Matrix failed because it gave everybody what they wanted. I think Agent Smith knows what he's talking about. Thank God we're at this part of the show because things are getting, morbid and depressing on this day when Love Day is Xing, Rob.
Texter said, James Franklin is a serial loser, but ... he's correct about the landscape of college football never coming back. Again, what do you mean? Kids aren't obligated to just stay because you want them to? Is that what you're worried about?
We're just going by Love Day is Xing, Rob.
We love you guys.
I had a perfect transition and you just ruined it by reading a text.
Sorry, it felt important.
I want to go home now.
We love you guys. We love this job. We love sports. We love that you are here with us every day. We appreciate you all greatly. I hope that all of you have just the bow chicka bow wowiest of days today.
By the way, if you don't know what you're doing tonight and the music you need to play, you should tune into what hour was that? Was that hour number 2, I believe, where we put all the music in there?
You
won't be able to hear any of it.
Start of hour 3, we went and built with you guys the ultimate Bow Chicka Bow Wow playlist, and you are welcome, by the way.
You are welcome. Let's transition into this. Megan Fox is Xing.
Megan Fox. Now, there's a name I've not heard in a long. Megan Fox was America's sweetheart for a hot minute.
Well, she was America's crazy sweetheart.
I said what I said.
Okay.
Some of us like the crazy chicks. Megan Fox was America's sweetheart for a minute. This was pre the Machine Gun Kelly days.
Yeah, that's why she's trending. She was at an after Super Bowl party with Taylor and Travis, and people didn't recognize her.
She has
she's went blonde and sometimes pink and some other things.
Which, for the record, I'm all good with. I saw that picture. I'm not gonna lie. I assumed it was a Kardashian when I saw it.
Which is what people are saying. She's been hanging with them, and look what happened.
I assume she has very clearly gotten like all of the baby fat sucked out of her face and put into her lips. Like, I just straight up assumed she was a Kardashian. I am going to I'm just going to call it like it is. Transformers Megan Fox was a smoke show. New Megan Fox, not as much.
Well, she was and probably still is drinking Machine Gun Kelly's blood, and maybe she actually has transitioned into vampire.
Hey, I mean, again, do your thing, do what you want, do what makes you happy. I ain't here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just saying Transformers Megan Fox hot wiring cars was ultimate.
All right, Kurt Angle is the next thing Xing.
Kurt Angle is probably because yesterday we talked about Wrestlers versus Zombies, and he is one of the stars of that movie, and obviously we helped take over the game.
Yeah, that's not why. He is Xing because Meltzer says he never had a 5-star match, and there are people, including Kenny Omega, who have responded to that. Kenny Omega says when he wants to get better, he watches Kurt Angle matches, and Kurt Angle responded and said, thank you.
Yeah. Kurt Angle was an all-timer. But I will also say this. Kurt Angle was wildly entertaining out of the ring. Wildly entertaining. I will never
the little hat.
Kurt Angle in the tiny cowboy hat.
Yeah,
wildly entertaining away from
which
the
I
ring.
was tempted to wear to the Star Awards, but I changed my mind.
Kurt Angle was not a dude that you could watch unless you genuinely love technical wrestling. If you like spot fest wrestling, Kurt Angle was not your guy. But if you like dudes putting on a hell of a match, I will forever think one of probably the best 3 matches I ever watched, though, was Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
One of the greatest matches of all time.
I also enjoyed him against Shane because I thought they were going to die.
Him and Shane was going to...
Yeah.
Him versus the wrestler who shan't be named had a Royal Rumble match that was an all-time banger my senior year of high school. I remember it very well.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Justin Fields.
The suspicion right now, the hot take in the big head talking circle right now is that Justin Fields will not be a Bear next year. The belief is that Chicago is going to draft a QB, probably Caleb Williams, number 1 overall.
Well,
Alonso's shaking his head, which tells me that's not why
he's
he's
video out there of Kevin Warren coming out and bigwig over at the Bears saying that basically Justin Fields is a player you can build around.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, it may be vote of confidence. I don't know, but the video's out to make it, and maybe it's smoke screen rather, because we know what time of year it is. It's almost draft time, so you start throwing things out there so people don't know what you're going to do.
The next 2 months of draft talk, the people that are directly connected to the teams are irrelevant.
All right, one last thing: Deadpool and Wolverine is trending. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you why. It is the most viewed trailer in the history of mankind.
I'm not shocked.
With 360 million views in 24 hours.
I'm not shocked. People, this is true. People want to have fun. People like to have fun. People want to keep having fun.
You guys have fun tonight. It's
And
Valentine's Day.
Deadpool and Wolverine is just gonna be fun. I hope you all do have fun. I hope you have fun the way that Marvin Gaye wants you to have fun tonight. All right? If you use our playlist, text us tomorrow. Let us know how it went in TV PG-13 detail. Y'all have a great Valentine's Day. We love all of you. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah. Facebook does this thing now where it, like, for whatever reason, it shows me days old post to catch up, right? One of my buddies 2 days ago, Tony Romo, shut up. That's his whole take from the Super Bowl.
Wait. So someone in your circle
not a Tony
is
Romo
like
guy,
me
apparently.
and not a Tony Romo fan.
Yep.
I feel, I don't know, vindicated, but I feel better, at least.
You are not alone. Edward is here with you.
Way to go, Eddie. 55, 45. Need to go watch that movie so I don't suffer alone.
I told you that's gonna be a fun drinking night movie for me.
It just sounds like a cop-out way of saying you're not going to watch it.
No, it's absolutely not. It's that I am making a day out of that movie. A day. Like the whole day is going to be based around a nightcap of a couple of good glasses of bourbon and wrestlers versus zombies.
Here's my review. You and I, with a 25-year-old camcorder, could go out and do a better movie than what I watched yesterday.
Challenge accepted. Radio host versus zombies.
The makeup would be better too. We'll just go down to Party City and guarantee you we do a better job. The people in this building can act better than anybody except for Roddy Piper.
All right, dudes and dudettes, thank you guys for being here. Hope you enjoy the show. We'll be back tomorrow to try harder. Have a great Valentine's Day. Love you. Bye.
You can also tell